You were born to be a leader. You were born to win. So live in your purpose until the end. If the world questions your greatness and they don't believe, then you prove them wrong. And soon they'll see. You are great. You were smart. So don't quit and don't bend. Show hope and love until the very end. I want you to lead with honesty, respect, hope, and love. I need you to lead this world to rise above. Now don't give up. With life you'll wrestle, for you're a hardworking and resilient vessel. Stay cool, stay smart, stay kind and special. Remain grateful, but never settle.
Welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast. We are here for the Social Proof 7 live in Atlanta, Georgia. Today's conversation is one that's needed to be had, am I right?
Absolutely.
Where a lot of people are talking about, building a business or making money, but there's a big challenge out there for people that are parents. And if anybody knows me, I only create conversations that I need help with. So I was trying to figure out this whole real estate thing, so we put together a real estate panel so I can get some free game. You feel me? And this is no different because I am newly a father and I'm an entrepreneur at the same time. And I realized that is a dynamic that offers some challenge for a lot of us. Anybody else deal with that? Like the balance of how do you build a business and build a family or be a parent, give your business could be your baby, but also your baby is your baby. And how do we divide the love? And also, what do we learn? What do we teach our kids about business? So these are the questions that I wanted to have conversations with people. So we put together the Social Proof 7, and we're gonna have the conversation tonight. So clap it up before we get started. Let's go. All right, so I'm gonna introduce, before we get into the questions, I'd love for everyone to introduce themselves and let me know how many kids you got and one thing that you want your child to know by the time they're grown. Some of you have grown kids already, right? But one thing that if your child grows up and they take this one thing, you'll be a happy parent. So we're gonna start with Miss Andrea.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Andrea Hamilton, mother of 2. I have a newborn at home right now. He'll be 3 months on the 21st. And I have a daughter, Ava, who's 7 years old, almost in May. I think the one thing I want my children to know, it's a tough question because it's just so many powerful things.
And tell people what you do, though.
Okay.
As a professional. Yep.
I'm a publicist and manager. I own a communications agency. I work with sports, entertainment, lifestyle, hospitality, a little bit of everybody in the city called Theory Communications. We're based here. We work remotely out of LA and New York too. So I'm an on-the-go mom. I'm an entrepreneur mom. I'm a mom who, I'm pretty busy. And definitely the balance thing has been something that I've battled for these last 7 years. But I do think for my children, I just want them to know to follow their dreams no matter what. That's the most important thing that I have taken away from being a mother, and I want them to take it away just becoming adults.
Gotcha. Mike, what you got?
I'm Mike Humes. I have 2 daughters, Michaela and Maya, 21 and 3.5, so pray for me. Full custody father as well. Of 2 daughters. I'm in the direct sales industry, so I've been in that industry for about 25 years. So I've been blessed to work from home for about 24 years. And one thing I would leave for my daughters is to not waste time, but to live in their truth.
I like that. That's good. Kendra.
Well, hi. I'm Kendra Stephan. I'm the brand protection attorney for entrepreneurs, entertainers, and professional athletes.
And for me. She's my attorney. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm
Retainer,
also David.
Just keep it.
He likes to remind me that he is a retainer client. So for me, I have 4 kids. I have a blended family, which includes 3 of my own and a bonus. And for me, the most important thing that I want my kids to know is that it doesn't matter to me what you do in your life, as long as you do what you're called to do and you live a full life fulfilling that purpose.
I love it. I love it. Jeremy.
That's good. My name is Jeremy Anderson. I am initially by trade, a motivational speaker, published author, serial entrepreneur. got an advertising agency. I'll tell you about that later. Got a trucking company, Speakers Academy, where I train other people on how to be a motivational speaker, monetize their message. Got 2 amazing kids. They look just like me, but with hair, and they're cute. My son Jackson and my daughter Jewel. And I would want them to know that they can have whatever they want if they put the work in. If you ask my little girl now, you've said hard work, she'll say pays off. So I'm already instilling it in her now. But that's one thing I would want them to know. You can have whatever you want if you wanted to put the work in.
I love that.
Yeah.
Jazz.
Hey everyone, my name is Jasmine Womack. I am the 6-figure storyteller. I am the owner, the CEO of the Impact Group. We are a 7-figure online coaching and consulting company where we specialize in working with experienced coaches to help them bundle their brilliance into a best-selling book and turn their book into a premium price coaching program. So the one thing that I am the mother of 4 children. So I have a blended family, 2 bonus babies and 2 children that are 6 and 10. My bonus babies are 19 and 22. So there's a big gap there. And so I want my children to know that, honestly, to keep God first, you know, and I'm not saying that just to say it. I mean, when you keep God first and you have a focus and you have morals and a standard for how you live your life, everything else is going to fall into place as long as you keep it, as long as you work towards it.
I love that.
Mr. Tookes. Hello, I'm Ramon Tookes, father of 5. I'm a real estate developer, investor, and educator. I've been in the business 27 years. And my kids range from 6 to 26. So they're 6, 14, 19, 20, and 26.
I was actually going to quiz you. I was going to say, like, do you know the...
I remember their birthdays.
And what do you think? What is one thing you try to instill in them?
One takeaway is I want them to work hard but enjoy life. And we can talk about that a little bit later, why I say work hard and enjoy life, because I've always worked really hard, but I'm just now starting to learn how to enjoy life.
For sure. Well, look, before I get into kind of your parenting style, I kind of want to know if any of you remember when you were a child and any childhood trauma that you remember or experience that affects the way you parent today. Is there anything that you can think of that happened to you? Maybe not from your parents, but something, some sort of trauma that affected you, and maybe you're parenting that way, or you're instilling something in your child that you got to watch yourself like, whoa, that's my old trauma coming out that I'm putting on them. Does anybody experience that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was violated when I was a child, right? In ways that little girls shouldn't be violated. And I went throughout my adolescence and adulthood feeling like I had dealt with it until I had my daughter.
Do you mind sharing who it was though?
It was my babysitter's son. So my mom was at work, and it was my grandmother's next door neighbor. They were great friends, had been friends with the family for a very long time. And I used to go up to her house, but she had narcolepsy. And it's so crazy. I just had this conversation with my mom a couple of days ago. She had narcolepsy. So she would fall asleep, because she couldn't help it. She had a disorder. And so when she would, like once or twice when she fell asleep, things happened. And so it changed me, and I didn't realize, it changed me because I started becoming a tomboy and dressing in overly big clothes. And I told my mom recently, I said, I realized that I did that to protect myself. I thought that maybe if I wasn't pretty, people would look past me. And I literally, up through high school and college, I dammed down my beauty because I didn't want to be seen.
Wow. And
I didn't it was to the point where I would not even wear shorts or open-toed shoes until I was 18. And I didn't realize that was why until later on in life. So it was when I had my daughter. And when I had my daughter and she began to grow older, my whole psyche was, I don't want what happened to me to happen to her. So I used to always, I was very, very keen on talking to her and talking, this is your body part, this is the name of it, this is your body part, this is the name of it, especially since Her father and I divorced when she was very young, so she was going over to her dad's. He had different, girlfriends or whatnot, and eventually got remarried, and then she's with them, and I don't know who you're with. We have to talk, so it's almost like, how are you? Who were you around? Did anybody touch you? Like conversations that parents should have anyway, but I think I was a little overzealous with it. And it recently came up. I had a slumber party. My daughter turned 10, and I had a slumber party for her. My mom never really let me and my sister go to slumber parties when I was younger. But I had a slumber party for her, and several of the mothers called me and said, hey, our daughter, my daughter is begging to come to Zion's party, but who's gonna be at your house? That was the first question. I don't really know you. I wanted to call you. I said, well, you should call me anyway. That contact should be made anyway. I said, but let's talk about it. I said, your daughter's gonna be safe, because I experienced certain things when I was a child. I wouldn't want you or your daughter to experience that either. And they said, you know what, you get it, because that happened to me too. Wow. And so they said, I've never let her, go anywhere. I've never let her spend the night over anybody's house, because and it opened up a conversation between grown women who were literally sheltering their daughters and keeping them from experiences for protection. And of course you should protect your child, but I think sometimes we can be too over, helicopter parenting. For sure. Wow. And I really had to do some self-reflection when I had my son. Because when I had my son, outside of, a couple of men in my family, some of my uncles and my husband, I realized that there had been a track record of men failing me through my life, or at least me feeling like men had failed me. Whether it was, things that happened during my first marriage, whether it was happening with my biological father, just a track record. And I realized that, when my son was acting up, or when he was acting in certain ways, like doing things that normal kids do, but I was seeing it a certain way. I said, I cannot project subconscious things onto my son. I have to raise him up to be healthy, and I have to heal those parts of myself. And it even took over into my coaching and how I interacted with male clients, with making sure that I was healing those hidden parts of myself so that I could be totally whole and unbiased. Wow. in how I related.
I got it. Yeah, we can clap it up for the transparency. But to find out, like to be able to track back what you're doing here and say, yo, I'm tripping based on what I experienced. Did anybody else have any memories of, any issues that you went through that you're projecting on your child?
I had to be intentional. You get spankings, whoopings, and beatings. You feel me? Yeah. You feel me? It's like some people got a spanking, some got a whooping, and some got a beating. And I got a lot of beatings when I was young. And so when I had my daughter and my son, I realized a lot of times my mom, she had me when she was 16. So she was young, trying to figure it out. And then the pressure of work and everything else. And then you got a little kid like me running around with a hot top face, super hyper, and getting in trouble. Sometimes it comes from frustration. So the Most High told me, like, hey, watch it. If you do discipline your son, if you do discipline your daughter, like, make sure you don't do it while you're angry. Mm-hmm. Make sure you don't do it while you're upset. Try to find some alternate ways. Even though I feel like you tapping that little leg one time, it hit a little different than taking something from you. But even with my daughter, when she got to like 5 or 4, I was like, all right, no more spankings. I'm just gonna start taking stuff from you, which break her heart even more because she gangster. But I just realized what I need to not do. And my mom, it's crazy. My mom hit me when I was in college in tears. She watched an episode from Oprah and was like, I just realized that was child abuse. I was like, oh no, mom, ain't nobody tripping, you know what I'm saying? She was like, no, that was child abuse. I was like, oh, it was. I just didn't want you to feel bad. Like, for real, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I just know as a parent now, I'm intentional, like, okay, I'm upset, so I'm not even gonna talk to you right now. Because I mess around and raise my voice and show my daughter some aggression that I wouldn't want no other man. So I'm even past like spanking. I don't even do that no more. But now if I'm upset with you, go to your room. I caught myself, can I keep it 100? Y'all gonna judge me? I told my daughter the other day, I was so angry at her, I was like, if you was a boy, I'd knock your head off. I was like, go to your room. Then later, I apologized.
I was gonna ask, did you apologize?
Oh yeah, for sure. And she got it though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But she know I don't spank her. So, but I was letting her know, like, if you was a boy, but God was like, no, you wouldn't. And I was like, I would, but I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just learning through my past traumas. When I was young, I'm learning. If I'm upset, I'm not gonna deal with it with discipline. I might tell you, take your butt to your room, I'll deal with you later. But I'm definitely not going to spank or whip you, period. Or if I do that, I'm gonna make sure I'm not doing it while I'm upset. Does that make sense?
That brings up a good question I got for Ramon, because your oldest is how old?
26.
26.
They still get whoopings, just what you're gonna ask?
Well, your oldest is 26, your youngest is what?
6.
See, 6, it seems like the things you were doing with your 26-year-old was okay, but you're going to jail for the same thing as a 6-year-old.
Right.
So in terms of parenting style, across a 20-year span, how have you had to adjust? And what do you see in terms of the world in terms of disciplining children?
So my parents, so my lifestyle has been amazing all my life. It's good and bad amazing. But most of my dad and my mom didn't believe in spankings. My grandmother didn't spank boys. And if anybody old school, boys couldn't do wrong in the grandmother's eyes. So it was the girls that always got it. So I really didn't believe in like spankings. Have they got it before? Yes. So I think my parenting style hasn't changed much. It's my lifestyle has changed over the past 6 or 7 years. Over the past 12 months, it's changed dramatically because I've now started to say like wanting to live. So me, if I can talk about the first question, and I'm gonna bring it to that question. As a kid, we lost a lot of people, whether it be going to prison, whether it be murders. So I was a person that like, my defense mechanism was I didn't let people get close to me. But then when I started having kids, I wanted to be really close to them because I didn't want them to ever have that feeling of somebody like leaving. So I had to make those adjustments, and I'm just now making it as they get older because they're like, you don't have to go here, Dad. We don't need you here, Dad. And I'm like, wow, I really don't have to be there. So I think balancing those for me has been something that I've had to deal with, and letting the girls go to college is a whole nother animal. So, but as far as discipline style, my discipline style hasn't changed. I raise my voice, I think, to make it work, but it doesn't work with 2 of them. It only works with 3 of them. Like 2 of them will look at me like.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Explain it.
So one daughter, I can raise my voice and she'll cry. It works. One daughter, if I raise my voice, she'll be like, okay, what? And you can't do anything to her. So it's kind of, you have to learn, each child is different. And I've totally learned that each child that 6-year-old, we don't know yet. We ain't figured it out yet with him, right? Because he is like brilliant. He's all of them in one. And he tells them on us, on me. So, I think his discipline is now no iPad, no basketball. He hates that. No outside. He hates that. But the rest of them, each one is different. So it hasn't changed much. I've changed, you know what I mean? Because I have to learn that wet work for 26. He's like the perfect kid, and a perfect, like even now, he's like the best child ever. And I think as I got older, something started happening, and the kids. So the parenting style has changed based upon the kids making me change it.
Gotcha. Did you know the S&P 500 was up over 26% in 2021? Now I'll probably speak in Spanish, but what it means is if you'd have took $100 and put it into the stock market and invested in some of the top 500 companies in America, that $100 that you invested in 2021 by the top of 2022 would have turned into $126. But you had your money in the bank and it lost money actually through depreciation, all kind of weird stuff. You want to invest, but you have no idea what to do. Let me introduce you to my sister and my coach, Terry Agioma. She's teaching me the stock market, okay? And I'm making money in the stock market. In fact, she has the #1 course on the Teachable platform. Teachable has tens of thousands of courses on the platform. She has the #1 course, but she cheated. I know why. The reason she's a better teacher is because she came from education. She was an administrator in elementary school, teaching kids how to become profitable members of society. So of course, if she can teach kids, she can teach people like you and me, okay? So do yourself a favor. Go to tradeandtravel.com. She's the best teacher in the world. She's my teacher, helping me make money. And when you go to tradeandtravel.com, she's giving away some free stuff. So just go to tradeandtravel.com. This episode, this whole dinner is sponsored by Terry Igioma because she wants to help our people, empower our people to learn this side of money, all right? So go to tradeandtravel.com. Let's get back to dinner. And you have how many?
4.
You got 4. What's the oldest, youngest?
Our oldest is 10.
10.
The youngest is 2.5.
Give me your differences and how you learned the differences between them all.
They are definitely different people. And I think I approach all of them with this thought. When I get older, these are going to be my best friends. Right? And so
Hold on, you approach your parenting style as when they get older, they'll all be my best friends.
Mm-hmm.
That's deep.
Does that backfire though? Because
I looked at my mom. We're her best friends. We're the ones that she speaks to every single day. We're the ones that we're around her. We're taking care of her. I want you to be happy taking care of me.
Right.
Just sticking me in the old people's home.
That's a word.
So I raised them like, hey, I want to be around this woman when I get older.
But if they're best friend, how do you create the line between best friend and disciplinarian?
Oh, see, that's the point. Right now, they're still guiding them. So I don't look at them as, for me, I look at my position as guidance. I want you to figure you out. You have to set your own boundaries because I feel like one day I'm not going to be here, right? I don't want you to look to me to police you for everything. You have to have guidance. There are rules, there are boundaries, and if you cross them, there are consequences. But I am not going to be always there. So you have to, learn how to figure things out. So I look at myself as a guide, right? And I look at these people as, hey, I'm raising them. I've been gifted the opportunity to guide them. And one day when I get old, these are going to be the people that take care of me.
For sure.
So a lot of the times I try to figure them out, right? Because when they were born, I'm like, yeah, I'm committing myself to you. I don't even know you. I agreed to take care of you and provide for you. I don't even know if I like you, right? And so I'm investing time to build and mold you into someone I'm going to like. And some days I don't like what you do, but I love you. And so that's one of the things that I'm always telling them, like, hey, mommy's not a fan of what you did, but she loves you, right? I will always love you. But right now, I don't like what you did, right? So my son, Alexander, he is our miracle baby. I've told you about him. He was born at 27 weeks. He was 1 pound, 15 ounces. And for a long time, Alexander used that miracle baby thing to his advantage. He was like, I'm going to do whatever I want.
He's smart. He's a thinker.
He's very much so. And he tippy toes, and he's nothing like his sister Alexandria, who is like perfect. Like he said, the oldest one, follows all the rules, does all the things. And he's like, no, I'm going to try to sweet talk you out of everything, And so just learning all his cues and all the different things, because disciplining him is totally different from disciplining her. Like you could spank him and he'll be like, okay, so I don't spank. I'm like, no, daddy wants to spank you. That's his business. But I don't spank because that's another thing. I don't want to break you. I don't want to break. I look at you as someone's future husband. Why am I beating up someone's future husband? I want to raise you and you want to be a king, and I want that to be instilled in you. So I don't believe in really spanking you, but I will take away things.
What happened to the spare the rod, spoil the child thing? Y'all don't believe in that no more?
Take away the iPad.
So the iPad is.
I think biblically, like I think it's a certain age. So like my son Jackson, he 3. So I can say, I'm going to take this and that's not quite clicking.
Not registering yet.
But when I tap that little left cheek, it hit different, right? And so now he know, don't touch it. Bruh, don't touch the iron, it's hot. Like he know, you touch it, like, oh, let me not touch that no more.
Yeah.
So I think at those younger ages, that's where it's at, so that you don't have these kids in the grocery store on the floor, throwing temper tantrums and embarrassing you. It's like, okay, while you're young, I'm going to check you. Then when you get to, 4 or 5 years old, like now what it is, and don't get it twisted, right? Like that, my spoon still works, right? And it also says, spare the rod, spoil the child, not spare your hand. So I also think for those who do subscribe to spanking, like don't use your hand, right? Because it's from you. So I got like a little wooden spoon, you know what I'm saying? I tap his little leg. I ain't telling y'all how to
spank your kids. I'm just saying. It's a spank your
I
child
had to take
tutorial,
that part. Right, 'cause
right?
it is something when you use your hand versus like a spoon or whatever. But I think when it's younger, maybe that's where that comes in, for sure, because it is in the word. Yeah.
I wish. My 2.5-year-old don't even go for that either. Like, yes. He's like, he speaks back. He's like, no. And you're like, Asher, go do this. He's like, no. And we're like, okay, no TV. Okay, I'm gonna go do it.
Oh,
Yo,
good.
so do y'all?
Good one.
Here's my challenge. And I'll ask you all because you have young children. How old's your child?
Michaela's 21.
21.
Maya's 3.5.
Mine's 3.5. The best way to get the child to calm down is to give them an iPad or a phone. Oh, y'all judging me? Oh, y'all judging me?
In this new age era, it's a heavy iPad generation right now.
Coco Lemon?
No, David.
Yo,
I can't watch it
Coco
anymore.
Melon?
I got you.
Oh my gosh.
Coco Melon, look,
Coco
you
Melon.
Coco Melon,
something in the
Elmo.
Coco.
She's an Elmo fan. But you like if she's doing the most, so y'all don't give the iPad stuff to calm down.
I think
Yeah.
I think it's different as you ask the question from 26 to
Right.
your oldest being 20.
How old's your oldest?
26. My oldest is 10.
10.
Yeah.
But iPads didn't exist, right? We had like Atari 2600s back in the day or something like that. So to take a car from me wasn't as big as taking an iPad where I could control everything. I mean, kids know how to take pictures. They can get into all the stuff. They know your code. But the one thing I tried to do differently was I think we can't avoid, even if it's not beating our kids, is saying no. Like by the time kids start school, they've already been through 5,000 no's, right? And so they're used to and conditioned to hearing no, 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 no. And we want them to win, right? We're telling them all these things they could be, but we had to tell them, don't touch that, leave that alone. Turn your phone off, do this, do that. And so I tried to instill in Michaela growing up, yes. I tried to find reasons to say yes, right? I always tried to find reasons to praise her.
Give me an example of you don't want them to do something, but you don't want to say don't do that.
So there's a book that I read called Well Done, right? And in the book, it talks about how they train whales at SeaWorld, right? And how do you discipline a whale? You don't, right? You just kind of not pay attention to it and let it do it. But you praise when it does something positive. So if she was doing something that she shouldn't do, I would kind of let it go, until I had to correct it. I tried not to say no so often. But if she made her bed, and she really didn't make her bed, but she attempted to make her bed. And I would say, baby, you did such a great job. Like, that was so good. The next morning, guess what she was doing? Daddy, come look how I made my bed.
Yep,
that's how I started to really, build the positivity and that energy. And so we all want praise, right? So, and recognition. So I really tried to instill that in her. Maya's different. If I tell her don't touch the book, she's gonna look at me, touch the book, grab the book, see how far she can go. She is definitely a different
So how
breed.
do you do that without saying no? Because that's a really good philosophy, though. I like it.
I have a similar kind of parenting style, and my sister had to kind of get me into this because I was the one like, stop, no, don't do that. Like, I'm one of those people, and my daughter now, she would be scared to touch anything, and she's like, look, mommy, I'm not gonna touch it because I know you said if I touch a knife, I'm gonna cut myself and go to the hospital. And I'm like, I'm a little bit too much of an extremist here, so I'm scared her straight. But for example, when my daughter was in her terrible 2/3s, because that thing stretch out a little past 2. She was in her artsy phase, and beautiful thing. But then she started drawing all over the walls. She started, drawing on the walls, finding permanent marker, drawing on the walls. And the inner me was like about to scream. Then I was like, oh my God, Ava, this is the most amazing portrait. Let me show you exactly where you should put it though, because on this wall, you're not gonna be able to show everybody. Everyone can't come over. So let's do it on a piece of paper next time. And kind of, instead of yelling at her, and then I had her help me wash the wall at that age. Like, let's kind of clean it off and let's do it again over here and I'll help you this time. And I had to, because like you said, I've learned just even, if you follow me on Instagram, me and my daughter, she talks like she's an adult. She can have a full-blown conversation with you like she is a grown teenager, for real. And I'm always posting our text conversations because it's hilarious. And because people are like, how old is your daughter again? Because she talks like, we talk like two homegirls sometimes. And I realized, like, especially as a Black woman, you're always silenced. You're always told to be quiet. You're always, you know, all these things you're told to be a certain way. But then, like you said, how do they go into the real world and feel okay to speak out? Feel okay to stand up for themselves? Feel okay to express how they feel? Black men can't express how they feel because they're told, if you're crying as a boy, stop doing that. You're a boy, you're a man. You know, we have to get out of that. The culture, especially the Black culture, we got to get out of doing that to our children. So, like, for me and my daughter, I'd like her to have a little sass. I like her to have a little, you know, tell me how you feel. Like, I'm gonna check you. Like you said, now if you step out of line, I'm gonna check you, but I do it in a way where I really explain to her why this is a problem. Not just, you know, as kids growing up, when you go back to trauma, it's just you getting whoopings for things that you don't even know really what you did wrong. Like, I remember I got the worst whooping in my life because my, you know, older siblings, they coerce you to do things because they know you're gonna get in trouble when I'm the baby of 4. So my sisters are telling me, go to mom and dad and say shit. And I'm like, okay, because I'm like 4 or 5.
They set you.
I go say it, they set me up and I'm getting my block knocked off. And I'm like, what is happening right now? I'm in the world like, wait,
Don't say it no more.
I'm listening to my big sisters because I'm thinking they're, you know, they're almost like the next best thing after God to me, because I'm looking up to them. They're telling me what to do, but they're trying to be funny as siblings and they're just wanting to see me get in trouble. And then my parents are just going to what they know, because our parents definitely was getting whooped with no questions asked. So they're just doing, like you said, the trauma thing. They're going back to what they know, instantly whoop me, put me on punishment, and now I'm sitting here locked up with a sore butt, like, what did I even do wrong? I don't understand. And I never got the explanation. It wasn't until I became older, like you said with your daughter, you know, you'll kind of explain to her, you know, or say sorry afterwards. What sign are you? I'm interested in knowing. When's your birthday?
I guess that's Leo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Early August though?
August 22nd.
Okay, you know, you're a Leo/Virgo type. But my dad's a Cancer. Cancers have a little more emotions in them. And my dad it's a house full of girls, so he would, like, the man in him is like, y'all tripping. He wanna, like, whoop us, but then he would, like, snap back, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I like have real sit downs with this, like, I didn't mean it. And when he did that, I appreciated it, because you felt like seen, heard, and, you know, okay, they are okay with saying they made a mistake as a parent. And now, as a parent now, I get why my parents did a lot of things I didn't like that my parents did when I was a kid, and I'll be mad about or upset about. Now I'm like, I get it. And I forgive you. And, you know, like, you go back to your parents and say, I forgive you for whatever I was upset about, because now I'm a mom and I get what you were going through, raising multiple kids, you know, trying to work, trying to do all these things. But
yeah, that was really a point that you said, like, we're disciplining kids and they don't even know what they did. So it's just trauma. Like, what is happening here?
Yeah, it continues on. And we keep going generation after generation, because that's just instantly what we know to do is discipline them. But it's like, does that actually correct the mistake?
Yeah.
I use them as teachable moments personally. Like, I've spanked my children, and depending on what they do, I might still pop them. Like, it was just last week, my son decided he just wanted to do what he wanted to do, and he was rolling on the floor in class and crawling under the table. Like, no, you got to pop for that. Right. like, you know better, you know? However, he did it again the next day. He did it again the day after that. Popping you isn't working. Let's talk about it. So we began to actually talk about emotion. So I realized recently, you know, even when children fall short, they're learning and they're growing. And we have to use those as opportunities for teachable moments. You're getting upset, something's making you upset, and you don't know how to control or express your emotions. So let's talk about it. What happened? Jair, what happened? Who made you upset? Who did what? Somebody said something to you and it made you feel this way. So then we talk about feelings. We talk about, you know, not controlling other people, controlling yourself. I purchased a book for my daughter probably in the summer, and I actually sat there and started reading it to him. It was about understanding your feelings. And I didn't know if he would register, if it would register with him because he was 6. Because he is 6, but we would read it I would just read it at dinner time, read aloud. Zion, you sit there, Jair, sit here. I'm gonna read this chapter to you. You guys let me know how you feel about it. I read to them and he was giving me feedback. Yeah, I get my power. I what did he say? I get my, he said, he used adjectives like I turn red or I get powered. And he used that to express that he was angry or mad. So yes, this is your power, but when you get mad at someone else, you're letting them take your power, So just having those conversations, and even with my daughter, she's 10 now. Zion, you have to turn your phone off, turn your tablet off, X, Y, and Z before bed. So I go up one night, she's in bed, she's supposed to be in bed. So I go into her room, she in there with the lights off on that tablet playing Roblox.
Roblox, everybody.
Roblox, yeah.
Kids be on Roblox.
It's like 10:30 at
Under
night.
the blanket, though?
Yeah.
Like,
She was chilling. She had her little lo-fi music on, had the light out. I thought she was asleep. Oh, a total vibe. And she in there, I turned the light on. She was like, Zion, give me the tablet, But we had a conversation. Zion, do you want to have a great relationship? Right? You want to trust me and you want me to trust you, right? But let's talk about defiance, Let's talk about integrity, having character, doing the thing that you're supposed to do, even when no one is looking. So it's an opportunity to instill morals and guidance and also let them know, hey, this is a relationship and you have a part to play in this relationship and you're contributing to this relationship too by the things that you do and the things that you don't do, For sure. So I have tried to migrate away from using spanking as much to using those as opportunities for teachable moments, because if they don't learn, if we don't teach them, then they're going to become adults who don't know.
That's a fact.
And then they go into their own relationships not being able to communicate and not being able to sustain relationships.
Yeah, I wanna kind of change gears a little bit, because in my head, and before I ask the question, I'm trying to think of my own scenario. But what percentage of your time, energy, and attention, out of all the things you have, do you give to your children specifically? Because we have a business, you got a bunch of businesses you run. I'm sure y'all got a lot of properties and all the stuff that y'all got going on. Like, what percentage would you say of your time, energy, and attention do you give to your kids? And then there's another dynamic of giving some to your kids and your spouse or significant other, right? And then I would imagine that a big chunk of it is business and the dream and going after it. So I like to hear from everybody, and we'll start with Ramon. If you can kind of quantify.
So I'm gonna give you differences when you talk about that 20-year span.
For sure.
Right? I started in the industry at 19, and when my oldest son was born, I guess I was 21. So my life was different. Like my lifestyle, I was a 21-year-old that was like really, really focused on always going to get some money. So now he would always be with me. Like they joke about it. My friends joke, they'll say, I remember when he was this small, he would be on sites or he would be wherever, whatever business I had, they would be there. So I've always had them with me, but because I used to equate, well, they're with me, so I'm spending time with them. As I've gotten older, I understand I gotta shut the phone off for a minute. I gotta, when it's all of them at home, it was a little bit different. So it was more time with them, but it was trying to divide it up. So if I had to quantify, I think with the youngest one, he's getting more quality time only because all of them are not at home.
Gotcha. So you're saying you had to, like, you'll be doing business, but your child is with you.
Yeah.
And you're saying, even though the child was with me, I wasn't with them?
Most of the time, because if you're on the phone and they're there, if you are, I guess I'm teaching you, they're learning, but you're not really there with them. You're not, as they say, that you're not present. Even though I'm there, I wasn't present all the time. And that's something that I've learned with the past couple of kids. The girls, I spent more, because they're girls, I can say my time was 20, 25% of the time where I'm really like locked in with the girls. With the boys, I'm like, go outside and play. You know, and that's one of those things, like she said, we got to change some of the things in the culture. I'm more intentional about the younger boys being like there with them. Yeah. Like, you know, when I'm there, cut the phone off. Or go put it on the charger and just walk away and then sit in the room with them. Even if it means we're just gonna watch the game for 2 hours. So I think trying to quantify it is tough, but I know that as I've gotten older, my time, and I'm gonna say the quality of my time with them has gotten better.
Listen, if I was gonna teach you how to make $1 million, would you give me 10,000? Like if I had a course teach you how to make $1 million a year positive, you're gonna make $1 million, would you give me 10,000? Of course you would. It's no brainer, right? So in a calendar year, we make 7 figures with the podcast. But there's 21 things that I extracted from that you're going to need to launch your podcast. But I only got time to give you 3 right now. One is you need a distribution platform. The distribution platform is what you upload your podcast to. That platform sends it to Spotify, Apple, Google Play, so that your supporters can actually listen to your podcast. You're also going to need a microphone. You need a really good microphone so it's crispy audio. And 3, you need an income strategy. This is not necessarily a hobby, unless you're going to make it a hobby. But I can teach you how I made the 7 figures with these 21 things. Now, the good news is you don't have to give me 10,000. My ebook is only $37, okay? So listen, go to podcastebook.com and get the 21 things that you need. And I can explain it in detail, all the things that you need, okay? Podcastebook.com. Let's get to the episode. Gotcha. I want to go to Mike because you bring your daughter everywhere. You travel with your daughter. So same question to you.
Yeah, it's different because I worked from home too. So I was a mailman at first where I worked 80 hours a week. So I had no time. When Michaela was born, I just launched into entrepreneurship. So it was different. And then, went through a divorce. And I think it was different for me because I grew up without a father too. So having a girl and growing up without a father and hearing the situations and knowing the statistics and situations that occur, like I was the father that all the kids, that they came to my house. Michaela wasn't going to anybody's house. If she see it, she's like, yep, I couldn't go nowhere. So I was the vice chair on the board of directors at the Christian school she attended. She traveled with me from the time she was in the crib. She was on stage with me everywhere. If I was, in a publication, she's right there with me. So she kind of grew up with me always being there. I took her to school. I took her to dance. I picked her up. So I was always there and always involved. So it was different, I would say, because of that. But it was because my father wasn't there that I wanted to give my daughter as much time as I possibly could. And so much so that it didn't matter if I know it cost me millions. I still made millions, but it cost me millions. And I'm okay with that because it really didn't cost me anything because of who she has become.
You're saying it costs you money because you're taking time away from your
right.
business to be with
Where folks would say, hey, you need to get a nanny. Hey, you should do this. So, there were times my sister traveled with me or so that I could go and speak and do things I did, or my mom traveled. But being in the industry I'm in, having built the organization of hundreds of thousands of people, your time, you're always on. I'm on every different time zone. But I had a situation that occurred, and this kind of shaped it. Michaela was like 2 years old. She jumped in the truck. The truck, you have DVD player, so I could put that on. She throw the ears on. I can just make my calls. But instead, she wanted to talk. And so she's talking to me. And I have a call coming through, and I heard her say, I still hear her so clearly 20 years later, almost 20 years later. She said, Daddy's always so busy. And I could feel how she said it. From that moment on, that was never the case, right? She was 2. So, she jokes, Dad, you go on more field trips than I did. Like, I really, but I never said no to her. So going back to that same philosophy, if it was playing with baby dolls, I don't care how tired I was going to give her that time because I needed her to see what she deserves. And she couldn't quantify the money or the lifestyle. And I couldn't send her outside. I grew up in the hood, so you always just went outside. Sure. We live, we don't have any neighbors, right? We didn't have any neighbors, so people had to come over. So I had to give her that time, and I was intentional about giving her that time.
Wow. Okay. Whew. Okay, so I think that's a topic of conversation of so what would you, like, percentage-wise now, because You still travel
Now she's
with
a
your-
senior in college. So,
I'm
but
talking about
with
your-
Maya
your
at 3.5,
small-
yeah. I mean, through the pandemic, if you watch me on social media, you see her. She just every Zoom call she running through. But because I think that's the life that we all live, it's acceptable. Like you incorporate your kids in what you do. If you don't, then what are you doing it for? You can't project that you're doing something or building something for our kids, for our family, but then not spend time with them because they go out doing something. Then who are you really?
You gotta be so loud, bro. Chill out.
I'm sorry. I get passionate about that type of topic. But yeah.
Andrea.
I think similar to what you were saying, it's probably the percentage wise, I would say a solid 35% dedicated to my daughter. I had a similar incident with one. Actually, I had two. One the other day, which just had me shook. So now I'm like on edge. But when she was a kid, she would always say, "You're always on your phone. You're always on your phone." But again, I had started my business and got pregnant maybe a couple months later. So I was birthing two babies at the exact same time. So she was the mascot of our business. She came to every meeting. Like I said, I built a business whereas my children can come to meetings. My children, they're accepted. And people have to understand that about me. Like if this is a problem, I totally respect it, but hey, it's not for me because I'm a mom. I'm a mom. I always say I'm a mom. But so I've always because I am the type of person who am on the phone. I'm on the phone. I'm on calls all day. I'm on 30 different time zones like you because I have clients in LA. I have clients who are in China. I'm like, damn, I can't, I'm trying to juggle it, but also pay attention. I'm here with her. We're at the park, but I'm on a Zoom. I'm not paying attention. So I had to literally, for me, set 1,000 alarms in my phone that literally stopped me in my tracks from what I'm doing. Ava story time. Wow. Ava this, Ava that. Because literally, I'm always on my phone. So if I'm sending an email and it comes through, I'm like, all right, put it down. Andrea, you have to dedicate 30 minutes to an hour. Let's do this, let's do that. And I was in a good routine with it. Baby number 2 came, I'm still in postpartum phase. I'm 3 months in, so we're still getting to it. But, the other day I'm a breastfeeding mom. I'm feeding my son. I'm sending an email over his head while he's literally feeding off me. My daughter's, I just made her dinner, so she's eating her spaghetti right here. And I'm doing this, and my daughter thinks my son is her child. She checks me every day about him, for real. Wow. So he kind of fell off of me, not off me, but he wasn't on my chest anymore. It's kind of graphic, but whatever. We're all parents here. And he's in my lap, and I'm still on my email because I'm like, shit, this gotta go through now. Oh, I'm sorry, darn, this gotta go through now. And so I'm I'm typing it, and he starts crying, and I'm almost finished. I'm like, come on, hurry up. And my daughter goes, Mom, he's important. And I was like, and I literally did not touch my phone. I closed my laptop. Everything was done for the rest of the day. And I had to sit there and I almost cried. And I was like, Ava, I'm so sorry. Y'all are the most important thing to me. And I cannot believe you just said that to me. Wow. And it's my fault because I made you feel in that moment I didn't care because she's like, work can wait. And she's only about to be 7. And I'm like, for her to say that to me, I was like, I have to take a step back. Because we're always on go, and as entrepreneurs, you're chasing the next thing. You can't really chill. That's how we all think, because if we chill, then your business could just flatline or whatever. We always think there's something else to get, so we are always on the constant go. But I realized, like I said, some things, if it's just not for me, it's not for me. If they can't respect it after 7 p.m., I can't be working right now. This is time with my family. That's what I had to learn how to do. And like I said, I started to see myself go back into that grind mode. And then literally, it was maybe 3 days ago. And I was just like, oh my goodness, this just hit a home and I'm back at it. So I have to stop. And I was telling her, I've just started getting a nanny because as a mom, you feel guilty asking for help. You feel almost inadequate or it's just that natural mom guilt of, I should not have to get a nanny. I should not have to get help. I should be here for my children. But at the end of the day, it's not 1950s anymore. Women are working. Women are entrepreneurs. Women are bosses. We're bringing home just as much, if not more, than men sometimes in households. So we have to respect our careers have to be respected on the same degree as the man of the house. So you just have to really figure out how to balance it all. But, your kids really come first. And I really had to check myself about it. So I'm at 35, but I'm working to get at 50.
See, I have a good portion of the time with my baby when I'm home, though.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I can, because I'm out for, no, I pretty much get home about 4 or 5 o'clock, pretty much every day. But I think I got to figure out that balance of maybe bringing my baby with me. My biggest fear is I'm driving and she's crying in the back while I'm driving. And I'm maybe 15 minutes away from my destination. And that's why I'm like, I don't know if I'm taking my baby.
We've all been there
Oh, that's
before.
coming.
Look,
Yeah, you haven't experienced that? Yeah, that's coming.
I have.
It's definitely happening. It's definitely happening.
I used to be driving with one hand and the other hand
With a
just
bottle
barely
in the
standing
back.
with
Yeah.
the hand in the back.
Yeah, well, I want just period, because you can make a choice to travel the country for 6 days, then come back. Like, there's a choice, right? It's not like we have to go get the money, right? It's a choice. What will be your percentage-wise, period?
So when I'm home, for me, right before the pandemic hit, I was leaving and I was about to head to the airport, and Jackson grabbed my leg and said, "Daddy, don't leave me." And when the way he said it, it was so dramatic. I was like, bro, it just messed me up. And he was like holding my leg.
Where do you think he's getting that from?
Because I was traveling a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I knew then. I hit Eb on the way to the airport. When they dropped me off, I said, "Hey, price went up." You know, everybody was talking about the Fat Joe yesterday price, but I really meant that. Like, I'll do virtual, but if you're gonna take me from my family, it's gonna be worth it. And then my wife was like, "How about you start traveling with Jewel?" So now maybe twice a month she'll travel with me and fly with me. That's a whole another situation because she hella spoiled. And we went to Wyoming. They were first class, and she was like, "Daddy, what happened?" I was like, "Babe, you know what I'm saying? They don't really have it on this plane. You know, sometimes you go on a smaller plane."
Yeah.
She was like, "What do you mean they don't have it? What are we gonna do?" I was like, "Oh my God, I'll take you to a soup kitchen." You know what I'm saying? But when I'm home, I had a similar situation, because it's like I'm working, and Jackson's like, "Daddy, Daddy," and Joel's like, "Daddy, Jackson's talking to you." And I was just like, man, let me put my phone down. So I started utilizing the ministry of Do Not Disturb earlier and really try to wrap all my work up by like 4 or 5 o'clock, and then just really be more disciplined. Really, for me, it's discipline. Just put my phone down, and I got a whole team if they need it. You know what I'm saying? And really be kind of tapped in with the family. So when they wake up, it's a little bit of time we have with them. You know what I'm saying? We get them ready. We have our family prayer. And then out the door, when they come home, I really try to be work-free, and I can tap in with them. I got systems in place. The nanny is a game changer. We've been blessed with Miss Katie, who cooks, cleans, picks them up from school. She handling everything. And it's a blessing. And I had to free my wife up from that. I feel like it should be me. I'm like, I feel you, boo. But we got 6 streams of income. And we got 4 different companies. So the average person can't make you feel a certain way because they might have one job and probably working for somebody. You got 5. Stop playing. This is what you deserve. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not Superwoman. As much as we are amazing, Superman, Superwomen, and you can't do it all. You know what I'm saying? So if you got to bring on some help, it don't even make sense. I said, look at whole girl like she a assistant or something. And so I try to put in as much time as I can with the kids. After we eat dinner, I put phones down, we locked in, we eat, we play, we wrestle, bath time, story time. I let them do their thing. So I really try when they're around me not to do no work. But that's where a lot of discipline kicks in. It's hard though, it's hard.
So what percentage of your life do you spend with your kids?
So not even just when I'm moving and traveling.
Just period.
I probably say when they tapped in at home, probably 80%, but they go to school now.
For sure.
So I can't, so that's why I have to take that part out because it wouldn't be fair.
Right, so you try to just get all your work done while they're at school so that before and after it's daddy time.
And if they go to the playroom to play, I'm trapping from my phone. You know what I'm saying? I'm right back on the phone, right back on the, you know what I'm saying? But when they around me, I try to be right there locked in.
Gotcha.
And yesterday, one thing real quick, yesterday I had a virtual gig, and when I got done, my daughter was like, "Okay, Daddy, we playing Candyland?" And I'm like, "Boo, I'm really trying to soak in some Epsom salt. That's how yoga took me out. I can't do it, boo." And she was like, "Okay, I understand." And I was like, "Oh no, come on, Candyland, let's go." You know what I'm saying? Because I see her face. But she was like, "I understand." But I was like, the disappointment, I was like, "Yo, I got to do better." You know what I'm saying? Like she was up here patiently waiting while I was in that virtual gig. you know what I'm saying? And she was looking forward to it, like those moments matter. And then after we played once or twice, she was like, okay. I was like, no, let's play some more. Yeah. I was like, let's stay in this place because you deserve it. So I'm still trying to figure it out.
I like that. Kendra, talk to me about the balance between life, business, babies.
I got a nanny, David.
You got a nanny?
That's the answer. No, that's not the answer for everything. No, we did. We invested in the nanny because I had that superwoman syndrome. I can take care of everything. I could do everything. And I said, no, we need to bring on another team player. And she's the best thing ever. Man, the kids love her. Okay, they with her right now, living their best life.
In terms of this particular conversation, the nanny, they'll help you in terms of like freeing you up to do stuff, but do you ever get so reliant on the nanny that you get in a cycle where you're just working and the nanny got it? And you ever get lost in your work? And
I think we're intentional about certain things. So I make sure breakfast, that's mommy. That's all mommy. Breakfast, dropping you off to school. We do that. Dinner, we do together, right? So she does the pickup, she takes them to tutoring, things like that. But for the most part, we keep certain things consistent as a family unit. Gotcha. And I think for me, what really brought it home was my daughter the other day said to me, she goes, how much money is in your bank account? I was like, excuse me? What do you need me to buy? Like, what is this? She's like, no. I just want to know because we need to see a return on this investment in time that you're taking. You're taking time to work. It needs to reflect in the bank account. Wow. And I was like, sis, it's there. Right. I got it. She was like, no, I'm serious, mommy. She's like, when you're not around and you're not with us, if you're working, you need to be working and it needs to show. And then my son is even worse. He's like, what did we do today at brandprotector.com? How were the employees? Is everyone happy? How is Caitlin? Like he knows their name. And so like he's invested in it, right? And then it made me think, they understand what I'm doing and they also want to see like, hey, there needs to be some projections. And I also want them to see though, here's the other thing. Not only do I want to have them celebrate and have the success, but I also want them to see, when things aren't great. So I've also started to have conversations with them to say, okay, this is what happened today. It was not a great day. We didn't close on this, but we keep moving forward. So I saw it as a moment to, I want you to see what I'm investing, but I also want you to see the journey of it. I don't need you to be a lawyer. I don't need you to be an entrepreneur, but I want you to understand that life is not always going to be up. There are going to be ups and downs, up and down. And same thing, when I'm with them, I'm intentional about being 100% with them. I know we've had a call once when David is like, okay, I really need to talk to you. I'm like, okay, I don't have a nanny. I have all 3 kids and the dog is barking. So if you really want this call, I could give you 5 minutes, but just know it's crazy right now, because normally I'm with them. My phone lives on do not disturb always. And I think for me, that allows me to control my time, set boundaries. So if I need to make that time for them, I'm always there. Just like yesterday, I went to drop the youngest off to school and they were like, oh, we're having a fun run. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hang out and see it. And he was so excited to watch him run around in a circle. And I was like, hey, I'm here. But I was 100% there. I wasn't like, I'm gonna miss a meeting or nothing. So I set time for them and that's their time. Whatever it is that they have going on, and whether it's just dropping them off to school, picking them up, whatever the case may be, that's their time. Gotcha. But they also respect my work time too. For sure. And I would imagine you've had to train them to respect that time, right? Oh, yes. During the pandemic, it was very hard when they want to just walk in and what's up? What's going on? We all home today? And it's like, no, we're not all home.
I think the pandemic was a game changer for all parents across the world. Sure. That was a testament.
Yeah, they cut off their Wi-Fi and go out. Yeah. They're like, oh, it's break time. No, it's not. No, turn back on Comcast. My son used to log himself out of Zoom. I'm like, what are you doing? Your teacher's still talking. No, I need a break. It's too much. So it definitely changed things. But I think for me, I also understand that they get burnt out from their routines and their schedules, and flexibility is important to me as a parent. Gotcha. So being flexible with them. Today, the youngest didn't want to get dressed for school. Okay. no problem. You ain't going to school today. I'm not going to fight with you. Like,
That sound like me. I ain't gonna lie to you.
he's 2.5. I mean, he's going to school to do what, really? I mean, I know he's learning things, but you know what I mean? Missing one day isn't going to break him. And I think understanding that they're human too. They want flexibility. They want that extra time. So today he just hung out with daddy today. And that's cool. And
kind of lit. And we're going to get into that conversation.
Yes.
So, Jazz?
I'm not sure that there is a percentage. I mean, life just is. It's just life with children just is, especially in my situation. My husband travels for work. So I am home, managing the home, and I'm running a business. Now, I can talk about, I'm going to share my journey, not necessarily my journey, but where I was when I started versus now. Because I don't want to just come off and say, hey, I have a laundry service, I have this person, because it wasn't always like this, right? When I first started was when I was teaching. I was a middle school teacher for 12 years, and I began building my business from home. And I had, my children were very small at the time, newborn, 1 year old, 4 and 5. And so I had to utilize I call them time pockets, every time pocket. This means that when I'm on the commute, when I was taking my children to daycare or taking them to school, I turned my car into a university, and I was listening to trainings. I was listening to courses. I was listening to anything motivational and mindset. I did not have the time at home to sit down watching webinars, but I could always listen. So from the time that we left home to that whole hour-and-a-half commute to dropping all 3 kids off, I was listening. We weren't listening to music. I was listening to what I need to listen to, and they were listening to whatever I was listening to. When I was at work, whether it was lunch, a break time, a meeting that we had that was running late, I always utilized that time, whether it was scheduling out social media posts, whether it was planning things, whether it was taking any type of consultation I needed. That's what I did. On the way home from work, every single day, well, Monday through Thursday, I would take consultations in my car during my commute, because I knew that by the time I got home, it was dinner time, bath time, bedtime. And I would be honest with people, hey, I'm driving home. You might hear my son in the background, but I'm listening. I would literally have a pad in the passenger seat. I would have it on record, have my earbuds in, and I would take consultations over the phone. And when I got home, after I put the kids to bed, I would send invoices. That's how it worked. So a lot of times people look for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. You have to make the time, and you have to make it fit inside of your lifestyle as much as possible without infringing on your family. So what would happen is during dinner time, I was cooking, right? This was when I was building, in my building phase. I wouldn't get meal preps to everything, right? I was cooking. The kids they were home. They were decompressing. But I would use that time while I was at home cooking to, again, watch and listen to things. That's how I built. And then we had dinner time, bedtime, bath time, homework time. I put the kids to bed, and every night from 9 to 11, I was working on my business. Now, one of the things that helped was that my husband traveled for work. But when he was home, I had to spend time with him, because my husband's a very talkative, I want your attention. So I had to give that to him, because for a period of time I didn't, and it caused some issues in our marriage, and I had to fix it. It wasn't him. A lot of it was me, and me not prioritizing things, right? So that's how I built. Fast forward to build. Now you've built it. Now you're multiple, at the time, multiple 6 figures. Now you have team members. Now it's, now I'm working from home full time, right? And my daughter said to me, this was during the pandemic, she said, Mommy, if God told you to shut down your business, would you? And I said, you know what, Zion? I said, if God told me to do it, I would have to. I said, but what is it you're getting at? Like, tell me how you're feeling. She said, you work all the time. You're always on your phone, da-da-da-da-da. Again, during the pandemic, they were at home, so they saw Mommy working. So I made it a point. I said, okay, Zion, I have to work. I said, normally you're at school, but because of the pandemic, you're home. I said, I have to work. I said, your friends' parents go to work. They just work outside of the house. Mommy works in the house. I said, so I have to work. I said, but tell me, you give me a time that's good for you, for me to stop working.
That's dope.
She said 3 o'clock. I said, every day at 3 o'clock. So from that point on, it took me a while to get there. 3 o'clock's the shut off time, but coming into 2022, one of my good friends, Dr. Shamika Dean, she one of her sayings is rest is the new revenue. And I said, you know what? I'm leaning into that.
Hit different a little bit for you.
I said, I'm leaning into that because what I don't want to be, I don't want to be stressed out. I don't want to be burnt out. And I don't want my children to resent entrepreneurship because in their minds, all they see is mommy and daddy working. If I keep on this pattern, they aren't going to want to be an entrepreneur. And I would like that for their future, you know? So let me create and modify my business in a way that aligns with the life that I want to live. And the life that I want to live is not me flying all over the place all the time. It is not me working from sun up to sundown. It's not that. The life that I want to live is me making maximum impact, maximum influence, and being compensated well for the work that I do, while I'm also keeping my family and myself first.
I like that.
And so I had to restructure my pricing. I had to restructure my programs. I had to hire more team members. When I did that, it allowed my company to scale and grow. And now 3 o'clock, well, actually I shut down about 2:30, 3 o'clock every day. I told my assistant, don't put anything on my calendar after 2 o'clock. From 2 to 3 is my time to decompress. 3 o'clock, I'll go get my kids, and then it's us until after they go to bed, I do what I got to do. So, you know.
So we're going to take a quick break, but I'm going to ask y'all a question, and you can only give an answer, no explanation, okay? On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is school and education? Scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like, yo, I don't care, my kids will never go back to school.
For your kids.
5, yes, for your kids. 5 meaning, yo, they ain't about to miss no days in school. So you only have to give one number, no explanation. We'll start, Ramon. 10, 5 to 10, 1 to 10. Okay, 1 to 10, yes, 10. 10. 6. 8. 7.
I'm in the 7-8 space.
You like the 7-8 space?
It depends on the age, though.
No explanation, just a number. Just a number.
What school are we talking about?
Now, I would say, because you're talking about formal education.
No, just a number. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Formal
like schooling,
education,
like
yes.
10 meaning they're not going to miss a day of
7
school.
then. 6, 7.
6, 7.
Yeah, somewhere in between, yeah.
Not miss a day, I'll let them take mental health days sometimes. So 8, 9.
But you know that 10 parents like, yo, it's going to be perfect attendance.
Oh, yeah,
no.
I'm a 7-8.
I'm at 8 then. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We do need a little bit of background on the question.
Okay, and for those that have a significant, how many people like have a significant other right now? Or okay, cool. What is the priority between yourself, your significant other, the child, or the business? Put those in an order for me.
Ooh, that is
most important. Gotta be honest right now. If I was gonna follow you with a camera, we'd be like, okay, what he just said, that's pretty true. So yourself, your significant other, your children, or yourself.
Business.
Who want to go first? Give me your order. From most important, the thing you give most time to the least.
God, me, family, business. Like,
Say that?
God, yourself,
not
family,
God,
business. Like
you, family, you, spouse.
Me, spouse, children, business.
Then business. Okay, all right, that's good. Ramon, I mean, you.
Well, I don't have a
Okay, you can leave out significant other.
Right.
So you got 3.
Got 3. The way that it is now, children, my children first.
Children.
My business. And then me.
And then you. Ooh.
Yeah.
Jeremy Anderson.
In the season I'm in now, I'll say me,
Selfish. I'm just playing.
Yeah, because if I'm not good, everybody's
100%,
fault,
100%.
Mhm.
right? So I would say me, and then, man, because I'm trying to keep it
Is
100.
Tracy here? Is she here?
Nah, she not.
Okay, we good.
Nah, and she not. And my wife don't need much, bruh.
Yeah.
Like she really like, hey, you do your thing. I'm over here chilling.
Mhm.
So it's not like she need a whole, but she really be trying to give her space. Let me rub your feet, girl. She like, I'm good. I'm just trying to watch Grey's Anatomy. So it ain't like, you know what I'm saying? Her love language is security, bro. Checking that bank account. She like, I love you. So I was being honest. It ain't like she need a whole lot like that. We do take nights and take all these exotic trips and stuff, but and I'm present. We have our shows at night, but she don't. It ain't. So when you think talking about what's most important, don't get it
Top
twisted.
priority, you.
Okay, top priority. But if you see,
These your answers, brother.
you know what I'm saying? It's like, cause I feel like it's a different. Hold on now.
Just give me, no, just
No,
give
it's a different.
I'll
It's
let you
like
explain it,
top
but give me
right.
your order first.
So top priority, if you put it like, what's a top priority? I would say, man, for me, business, kids, wife.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
before that
Can
jump.
I say something right quick though?
Yes, sir.
But it's changing, and I'm learning to take care of me because, like you said, without me being great, then they're not going to be great. So since August, and we can talk about it in a minute, you know, I've changed my schedule. I don't work till 2 a.m. and I get up at 5. I still get up at 5, but I'm starting to get better with that.
Yeah.
So where I want it to be is, you know, me,
Gotcha.
business, then kids, because they're getting grown.
Yeah, nah, I feel you. It's quite a question, right? And I want y'all to think about your tiers. Okay. Kim, what we got?
I'm gonna do this correct.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna do me,
Mm-hmm.
the partner,
Okay.
the kids,
Yep.
and then the business.
Okay. Mike.
Me, starts with me, kids, then business.
You, kids, then business. Okay.
I think it's the kids, partner, business, and me are in the same tier. But I'm kind of climbing back up the totem pole. I'm learning to recharge and to do things for me.
You know what's crazy? I am on the bottom tier of this chart personally, like right now. It just seems like it's a lot to manage. And for like top would be business, if I'm being honest. Now this conversation is really helping me, right? But if you were to follow me with a camera, you would say, yep, business is his top priority.
But it's also the season. You got, you know,
Yeah,
and we're all in
it
different
kinda
seasons.
does
So
too.
the way you put the question
Yeah.
right now, that you got to
that's
get it
cool.
now,
Has to
so
have an
that
explanation,
you know,
yeah.
baby girl's at a different place.
Yeah.
So, you know, before it was different. I put Michaela way before I put myself, to a fault, where my friends and, you know, those who were close would say, bruh, you still need you time.
Yeah.
And I would think time with my daughter was my time, and it wasn't. And so I wasn't able to recharge. Going back to what he said. So you're at a season now where, you know, you got to do that.
Yeah,
And I was at
no,
that
it's-
season
Yeah.
where
let me get
I did
myself
it, and I
together.
tried to bounce
I
around.
just
So
get
it's
up
okay.
early in the morning and have my me time.
Listen,
I just get up. That's my time.
I think I you know what's crazy? So I
Mine is
get
a
up
super
and then
late
I
night.
read, but I read because that's our morning meetup, which is still a business. I read to get my assignment done so I can come back on the call and give so I'll read and then come up with whatever message I'm gonna have for my call. And then like I literally give myself no time. We're gonna break, but I want Jeremy to explain himself because he really
Oh yeah, that's what, I mean, and that's what I was saying. I'm thinking like I had an out of body experience, but I didn't want to lie. Now, if you ask me, like, what's most important, like, man, I'll give all the money in businesses to just have my family, right? But when you like, what's top priority in this season? 3 months ago, bro, I didn't tell you, bro, but I almost crashed and burned, bro. I had to go in the city, get me a little hotel room, 36 hours. I ain't talked to nobody except for my wife for about 20 minutes and just had to woosah because I was where you was. I was at the bottom. And I didn't realize I was running on fumes. When the big homie, if E or Big Shan would reach out, yo, how you feeling? How you doing? I'm like, yo, I'm Gucci. But it's almost like driving a car. You can literally drive a truck and go 90 miles per hour, and that's not gonna go 90 miles per hour, and then it's gonna putt, within a few seconds, you out of gas. I thought I could feel like, man, I'm at 70. You know what? Right now, I feel like I'm at 50. I'm at 30. No, I realized, look, I'm in a bad place. So I said, I gotta start making myself top priority so I can be the husband, the father, the entrepreneur I'm supposed to be. And so I'm like you, I wake up super early. My friends call me an old man, bro. I'm going to bed by 9. This is actually special, me being here. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really leave the crib, bro. And I'm definitely not trying to leave in the evening time, because that's family time. But if you look at the time I put throughout the day, bro, I'm working. I'm the hardest working person in our business right now. I just took off Fridays, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm in a season now which like, I'm my top priority. I gotta make sure my mental health is in a good space. So I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I seek the face of God. By 6 o'clock, I'm in the gym. You know what I'm saying? By 6:45, I'm checking emails. 7:30, I take the kids off, take Jewel to breakfast, the little Waffle House, IHOP. Like we put our time in. The morning we jamming to Kids Bob, whatever they want to hear. Like I put that time in. But it was priority. I'm like, I gotta make sure I'm good. I need to make sure all these businesses are running where they need to be. And because I have a team, I've got plenty to give my wife and my children. But if you look at my day-to-day activities, I'm not sitting up watching movies with the kids more than I'm working. I'm definitely working way more. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be to a point now where I can give them even more time in the future.
I love that. Listen, man, clap it up for our guests. Listen, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna eat real quick. Then I want us to keep the conversation going at our table, and then we're gonna come back and I want to hear more from our speakers. Then we'll get into Q&A if that's okay. But this episode is definitely sponsored by Trade and Travel. Y'all know Terry. She said, "Listen, I know this is a labor of love because I lose money every event. Okay, but she was like, yo, I want to sew into your program. Keep it going." Keep bringing people together, having important conversations. So Trade and Travel, tradeandtravel.com. Make sure y'all support. One, she has the #1 course on Teachable, meaning she has tens of thousands of people who have learned how to trade and now are making money from home, meaning they can spend more time with their families and more time for themselves. So make sure you follow Terry Ijeoma on Instagram and go to tradeandtravel.com. Okay, so we're about to go to a break and then we'll be back. All right, clap it up.
I want to invite you to pick my brain.
Mine too.
Yours too?
Mine too.
Yours too.
I can
Okay,
pick
you
my
guys. We are so excited because we just dropped our newest podcast series called the Brain Picker Podcast. David.
Oh, it's going down. You get to pick our brain. You have a business idea, a concept. You're stuck. You can't get off the ground. You need the advice of seasoned, experienced entrepreneurs. Not only entrepreneurs that are practitioners, but we got a lot of people that we've been coaching all over the last decade.
All over the globe.
They got receipts.
Not just that, you never know where your next investor might be hanging out. And the word on the street is we got all the connections.
That's a big fact.
We got all the connections. So if you want to sit down with us and pick our brains
in front of our audience,
and we're letting you pick our brains, we won't even talk bad about you for doing it in front of our audience, bringing your business maximum exposure. Find the link somewhere around here, wherever you see it.
It's there.
And apply
right now
to pick our brain.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Well, welcome back to the second part of this Social Proof 7, where we're talking about parenting and entrepreneurship. This episode is sponsored by Trade and Travel. Go to tradeandtravel.com if you want to learn how to understand how to make money. How do you get your money to make money? How do you understand the financial markets? Terry has helped tens of thousands of people start having $100 days, $1,000 days, 5-figure days. She is absolutely amazing, and she sponsors and supports and empowers this event. So let's give Terry Ijeoma a round of applause. Great job. Cool. So we ended off kind of talking, well, one of the questions that we ended with was the scale of importance between school, like how much emphasis you put on school and traditional education. So I kind of want to know what you're teaching your kids, and anybody can answer, what you're teaching your kids about formal education as entrepreneurs.
I felt when I gave on a scale of 1 to 10 the importance, I said a 6. Not because I don't think education is important, but my daughter, so she travels with me. I had an engagement in Wyoming, right? I brought her with me, took her to a museum on our day off. And she was like, Daddy, I heard about the Indians, the Native Americans. I said, really? She said, yeah. I said, boo, what'd they teach you? She said, yeah, they taught me that when they came over here to America, everybody lived in peace and harmony.
Yeah.
No, seriously, that's how it's written in a lot of those history
I said,
books.
boo boo. I said, the baby, it was a massacre, and I broke it down, and I didn't go into the detail about the rape and everything else, but I was like, babe, it wasn't what they said, and she was just like, are you serious? I'm like, that's what they're teaching you, babe? Like in 3rd grade. So after that, I was like, I'm really off this.
Hold on, they're teaching.
No, they
came over
There was
here.
a history book that my little cousin had, and there were slaves smiling, picking cotton like it was a happy, good old day. So they are a lot of these. It's pretty wild right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you have to pay attention.
Yeah, we found a culturally centered charter school for our children, and I absolutely loved it. So, like they have the children sing "Lift Every Voice and Sing" they sing the Black national anthem. They have to come in speaking affirmations over themselves, and they focus on science, technology, engineering, math, gardening. It's a charter school. The principal is Nikki Greer, and it's Delta STEAM Academy in Lithia Springs. It's been an absolute game changer for us. So I'm thankful in terms of that, because they teach history from a Black perspective. And so the kids, they come home, they ask about it, and we're able to actually look at documentaries, look at Dr. King, listen to Dr. King's speeches, and we have conversations about what goes on. So I definitely think that I'm a former educator, so education is very important to me, but I still feel like we have a responsibility to teach our children at home. We can't just leave it all to school. So we have those conversations. We create those experiences and those learning moments. And I invest in after-school tutorial, professional tutoring for my children, just like I do extracurriculars, because I do believe that, education teaches you how to learn, but we have to teach our children how to think. And there's a difference.
Yeah. And I wanted, you're going to round out that story.
Yeah. Just in closing, when I saw that, I realized like I'm putting too much stake in that. So now I'm like, you with me even more, and what you gonna learn with me, and what we teach you about the businesses and marketing and money. Now if I'm going to the bank, baby girl, you coming with me. So it's a lot different now. And I asked her, I said, baby girl, what college you want to go to? She was like, I might not go to college. I might just run next level. I said, wow. Or she's like, I might start my own company. I was like, okay, interesting. I'm doing something right. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to go for the experience, you want to hit Morehouse, Spelman, like whatever you want to Yale, you want to do that, cool. But I'm like off what they, like you teach, now I need to find out about the charter school too. It's like, I'm just not putting so much stake in that. Because it's like what we going to teach her and what we going to instill inside of her is more important. Gotcha.
Mike, I'd be interested in knowing what you teach your kids about school. Because in the direct sales industry, it's like that's where I really started learning not unimportance, but this is where I really started learning where I don't really need to go to school like that. You know what I mean? So what do you teach?
I'm glad we could teach you that. But I think it goes back to, Jazz said it earlier when she was talking about being in the car and listening to personal development or your trainings, and your kids were listening to it as well. So that's why I was kind of 6'7" for that reason. Like Michaela's a dance major. She was National Honor Society dance. She's more creative. She's a senior in college dance. Her minor is entrepreneurship though, because that's all she saw. So I don't know where she's gonna go with it, but I want her to take it wherever she wants to go. But I focused on, what that formal education could do, but the self-education, I was constantly pouring that back in. And I needed that. So when I think of my business, for every book I read on business and personal development, I was reading a book on fatherhood, right? Because I needed that, because I didn't have an example.
What's a good one though? What's a good fatherhood book?
Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters, because I have girls. So Dr. Meg Meeker, that was one that, but if I was gonna read How to Influence Friends That Influence People, I was gonna read Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters. If I was gonna read 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, which, took my income to another level, I was gonna read Why a Daughter Needs Her Dad. If it was gonna be 10X and, Sell or Be Sold, I had to read Next Level Parenting and just anything that was, fatherhood principle, anything by Miles Monroe, all of that stuff.
List, bro. I need that little book list.
Oh man, I like thousands of books, but I have a nice amount of books that helped shape me into being a good father. I had some examples, but I didn't have a lot of examples to glean from. So I was gleaming from something that he said, something that you said, something, that the ladies have said up here that I could tweak or that I could learn from, or I was watching other people when they didn't know I was observing and seeing how they handled a certain situation,
Ken, you're an attorney, so you had to go through school or like traditional education. What do you teach your kids about education? Traditional education.
Traditionally, both my parents are teachers, and they married teachers when they divorced each other.
Oh, wow.
And they believe in degree competition. So my mom and sister went all the way to doctorates, right?
Oh, wow.
So education obviously has always been instilled in me, but I rebelled against it as a kid. That was one of the things that I rebelled against, actually, was like, no, I don't want to go to school. I want to be an entrepreneur. That's how I feel. And for a long time, I battled between my parents wanting me to actually become an engineer. I don't know if I ever told you that. They wanted me to go to school to become an engineer because, and I was like, no. I dropped out of college. I was rebelling. I actually got depressed because I knew in my heart I didn't want to be an engineer. And they kept telling me to be an engineer. And finally, I said no. I always remember as a kid saying I want to be a lawyer. In order to become a lawyer, I had to go to law school. So there was no way around that for me because that was what I've always wanted to do as a kid. But I tell my daughter, who's like, so do I need to go to college? I'm like, you could go to college, but I want you to understand that it's not about your classes. It's about discovering you, right? Figure you out. And it's a safe space to do it. While taking classes, you could travel the world, you still have some structure. It's still giving you that safe space. It's like adulting, but you're really not. You're still in adult training. And that's a great space to do it. I'm not worried about you and what degree you want to do. I know you're going to be, whatever it is you decide to do is what you're going to do. But use that time to figure that out. Gotcha. So for me, when I look at them in school, I think of it as an opportunity for them to just continue to discover themselves. Not that you have to get this degree. Right? And I tell her all the time, my goal actually is for you to be a trust fund baby, but don't rely on that. You still got to be able to sustain yourself and make your own money. And my 7-year-old was like, you don't got to tell me nothing. I already believe I'm a trust fund baby already. So for me, education is important, but I feel for them, I want them to understand themselves, right? And have that self-confidence. So like, even when we're dropping them off to school every morning, we do a morning affirmation, which they don't even realize is an affirmation. They just think it's a morning song. Say, oh, today's going to be an awesome day. And they sing that in the car and they're like, oh my God, this is such a great song. But it's just instilling them the outlook and learning how to speak their words into existence. Like that to me is way more important than what they did at school with their homegirl, right? But I do want them to have the foundation so you can understand, because there are grown people that cannot read, that cannot write, that don't understand numbers, don't understand these things. I think that's important for you to understand the basics. But beyond that, it's important for me as their parent not only to teach them what's in the books, but to teach them life, themselves, and everything else.
I love it. I want to get into Q&A, but I want to hear this one thing from all of you all. If you are writing your child a letter about success and business and happiness, right? I want to hear how you would write this letter, right? What would you be saying? Like, so you're saying, dear child, and all the things that you would want them to know in this letter. And then we'll jump into Q&A. But I just want to hear like what's on your heart and the things that you want them to know. So I want to start with Ramon, and we'll this way.
That's a good one on the spot. But I think the core of the letter I want to talk to them about going.
But you got to frame it, dear child, and
my
just
child,
go.
Dear child, never give up. There are going to be some challenges in life. Keep going. Keep going. And if I could, like the main parts of it, I really want to tell them about when you're going after your dreams, to make sure you use what God gave you in relationships and not staying to yourself and utilizing. I always feel like the answer to every problem is another person. So build your relationships, because your relationships are much more important than the money that you're gonna go after. And it's because of my experiences of hunting money and staying to myself. And I think that's gonna be the crux of it is really going after your dreams, living your life, and as an entrepreneur, knowing that there's gonna be some tough times and don't give up, especially if on your heart you feel like that's what it is. Not just every shiny nickel, but if that's what it is in your life that you feel like, then you go after it.
Hey man, short and sweet. We can clap it up. You know what I mean? That's like a nice little text message. You know what I mean? I feel like Jasmine gonna give us a 4-page letter. Jazz, look into the camera. Let's write the letter.
Dear child, live a purpose-filled life. Set your goals, have your eye on your dreams, and go after it. Always remember that you can attain anything you want to attain. You can have all the money, and money will make life comfortable, but money will not make you happy. Happiness and fulfillment comes from within. So I love you. I support you. I know that I've raised you to live life in the most fullest possible way, and go forth.
I love it. I think this week, maybe when I get home, I'm actually going to write a letter. And it does two things. One, you can give them the letter at some point and they can say, this is what you thought about, what I was thinking about in this time frame. But it forces you to sit down and be intentional about how you want to shape their future. I think we're all just being parents and things come across and we do our very best to advise them. But I think I am going to write a letter to both of my children. And maybe the letter isn't for them, but it's for me. And maybe I have to revisit the letter, right? When I'm in a very intentional moment where I'm thinking about what is it that I want to instill in my child instead of kind of like happenstance through life and hopefully they learn these lessons. So Jeremy, actually, I really want to hear, Andrea, I'd love to hear your letter.
Well, just a note on that. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I would write letters to her about my experience, about how I felt being a new mom and my fears of, I don't know how I'm gonna teach you how to, drive, and I'm having anxiety attacks, and I still have them all saved. I even typed them up and saved them in a little folder in my computer. And I don't know, maybe when she's 18, I'll give them to her. Like, this is, a little journey. Yeah, because I was like, I just had to get it out. And I was like, this is something that, I wish I probably had to just know what my mom was going through at the time. But if I could write a letter to my daughter and son right now, it would just be, Dear Ava and Faza, I love you guys. You're beautiful. You're smart. You can literally do anything you set your mind to. There will be highs and lows, but with belief and patience, because I teach my daughter about patience all the time, anything is attainable, and that I'm just proud of you. Because we don't hear that enough from our parents sometimes, and I just want them to know, regardless of what they choose to do, I am proud, because find your happiness, whatever that may be, because it's a different definition for every person. So find your happiness and literally take that journey for the rest of your life.
I like that. That was actually a bar. Like think about it, the parents out there, when's the last time you said, I'm proud of you?
And it's just simple. It's just a simple, you don't even have to explain it.
It gets lost.
It gets very lost because you always are thinking about, okay, I accomplished this. It's like I have to. I get straight A's because that's what I'm supposed to do. But you don't get, a pat on the back about it. But if you get C's and D's, then you're getting reprimanded. So it goes back to that thing of, just tell your kids simple things like that to help lift their spirits, because life is hard. Yeah. It is.
Even if somebody, it's a difference between saying, you did a good job, affirmation, versus I'm proud of you. Because I think you did a good job, it's a clap, okay, you did a good job, but I want to start adopting that language of I'm proud of you. So you know that I am feeling a certain way about you, not about what you did, but I'm just proud of you. And I think I remember moments that my father said, I'm proud of you. And it meant a lot. I could win a game and he'd be like, yo, good game, man, you played good. And I was happy because I won the game.
But subconsciously as kids, we're almost always doing things for the approval of our parents. You don't really know that you're doing it until you get that from your parents, or if they don't give it to you, then you feel it like, why aren't they happy about this? Even though it may have made you happy, but if they don't appreciate it, it's like I said, subconsciously, you're really doing a lot of the things in your life. A lot of these goals you're reaching are for your parents' approval.
Y'all want to say it on 3? I'm proud of you. Okay, just think of your child. 1, 2, 3.
I'm proud of you.
I'll give yourselves a round of applause. Y'all gonna say it when y'all get home, right? Look your child in the eye. I'm proud of you. Let's hear this letter, man. You could sum up all that you want to say.
All of it. We'll be here for a while. Dear Michaela and Maya, I love you. I'm obviously proud of you. You are the reason why I do everything that I do, everything that I've done. You make me a better person, a better father. It's because of you that I've been able to help so many other parents come home so they can be with their kids like I've been blessed to be with you. And always remember that the only way you can fail is to quit. But of course, it's impossible to stop a man or woman who will not quit.
I like that. I am so anxious to go write this letter. It's great. It's good. Kendra, let's hear it. You got to talk to all of them.
I know, right? I'm not listing names. We might be here all night. Dear children, just know that no matter what happens, I am always going to be proud of everything you do. I love you. No matter what you decide to do, always focus on finding your purpose. Why are you here? What is it that you need to accomplish more than anything else? And happiness, joy, and all those things come from you. But most importantly, don't chase money, right? Money will come, right? Focus on fulfilling your goals in life. And it's not going to be perfect. Once you figure out your purpose, believe me, it's not going to be perfect. It is not going to be easy. But every day, keep putting in the work, and you're going to be proud of what you achieve.
That's good. And you know what I remember? And this is crazy that we should all start more regular. I remember my mom would make my lunch, and she put a note in my lunch.
I do that now. I do that now.
I remember reading it one day, and I didn't want my friends to see it because I'm like, all right, my mom being corny again. But I remember reading it one day and being choked up, being emotional, because it's one thing to say it or, phone call, but you're reading it and you get to read it in their voice, how your mind imagines them saying it. It's like they took the time to write it. And you see the eraser marks, like I didn't want to say that. I want to put it a different way, and there's hearts. I remember it vividly. And those are some of the things that really, really shaped me and created a connection between me and my mom. Dang, I'm going to start doing that. That's dope. Okay, Jeremy.
Okay. Jewel Jackson, you were born to be a leader. You were born to win. So live in your purpose until the end. If the world questions your greatness and they don't believe, then you prove them wrong. And soon they'll see. You are great. You were smart. So don't quit and don't bend. Show hope and love until the very end. I want you to lead with honesty, respect, hope, and love. I need you to lead this world to rise above. Now don't give up. With life you'll wrestle, for you're a hardworking and resilient vessel. Stay cool, stay smart, stay kind and special. Remain grateful, but never settle.
You cheated.
Man, right. Okay, so but I'm actually writing it and I have time. It's gonna sound like Jeremy. You wrote this already. When I have the time with the pen and the paper, it's gonna sound like Jeremy, I promise. I'm gonna have the right words.
No, so backstory to that. So when we launched our Next Level Leadership Academy in Arizona, right? I created a mantra for our students. And I wrote it as if I was speaking to my daughter. And so I had already written. So when you said,
I already
wrote the letter to her.
My letter's written.
You feel me? I already wrote it. And so, so we share that. Now schools across America, every morning after they do the Pledge of Allegiance or whatever, they recite that mantra, which is really a letter I wrote to my daughter years ago.
That's amazing.
Well, Okay, I want to spend the next few minutes answering some questions, some specific questions that you might have, right? So you might have questions about the co-parenting thing, or how do I stay focused when I got all this stuff going on? So we're gonna line up probably at the microphone right there for anybody that has a question for anybody on the panel. So let's do it.
Hello. So my question is,
what's your name?
Shannon. Hi everyone, I'm Shannon. So my question is, and I could have an answer from all of you if possible, but I just want, okay.
Two guys.
So just, what do you guys think is the most important question when you're interviewing a nanny?
Sheesh.
So who want to take that?
I could definitely go there.
Okay, that's one. You got one?
Yeah, you want? Go ahead, go for it. We do 3-phase interviews. First one's over the phone, second one over the phone, third one is in person. Matter of fact, we do 4, because before you even meet the kids, I want to put eyes on you. So we actually go through a 4-phase interview process, and after we do all our investigative work, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
what is the investigative work though?
I got background checks, but I got family in law enforcement too. Yeah, and then I'm gonna find you on social media. I want to see all your posts, and then what's really big for me, I want to meet your kids. So when I met Shirley, her daughter, I was just like, okay, you know what I'm saying. So you got to do that research, but you really want to find someone, depending on what they're gonna do too, because you might need someone just to watch the kids. When you find the best person to watch the kids, I need a hybrid. I need somebody that can make some enchiladas, somebody that can do the laundry. You know what I'm saying? I could trust driving, but you really want to check their heart. You really want to know, is this just a job, or are they just doing this for the money? If so, they're going to go to the next family, you know what I'm saying, that's going to pay them more. So you really want to ask the heart questions, you know what I'm saying, like really trying to check what their heart is. Then I'm looking for somebody of faith too, for me personally. You know what I'm saying? I need to know that you love Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to be up in my house, I need to make sure our values align. So for me, it wasn't just, can you do the work? Because some things you can be taught and trained, but it's like, is your heart in the right place? What's your energy like? And so some of it is not, it's the nonverbals. It's not even the stuff that you might ask or they can answer. It's just that energy, that spirit within. And when Jackson, and you'll meet Katie, when Jackson ran to her and gave her a hug and said bye, after that interview, I was like, oh snap. Because Jackson be encouraging people. Yeah, she the one. And so yeah, for me, it's hard. It's not necessarily, are you available? Can you travel? Do you mind travel? That stuff is cool, but I really know, like, what's your heart like? How long have you been doing this for? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you really enjoy kids? You know what I'm saying? Tell me more about yourself. So it's more that heart, the internal stuff.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Where are you finding this nanny? Like, is it care.com or?
Yeah, so I came across, so care.com. Yep, I got 2 accounts of them too, y'all. You know what I'm saying?
So I got 2 accounts.
And then as they would meet certain approvals, I would kick them to my wife and she'd give the thumbs up. Then we start the interview process. But this last one, and be cautious, right? Don't put yourself in a box. Because this last one had an amazing spirit, but she was really like, man, I'm really just, I just really do the cleaning. But her spirit, her energy, I was like, do you like kids? She's like, oh, I love kids. I was like, can you cook? She's like, I love to cook, but my kids are growing and older and they never eat. And I was like, man, you might have everything we need. You know what I'm saying? But her profile just said house cleaner. You know what I'm saying? But as we began to talk, because I'm very thorough. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like you're gonna be paid well, but if you in my crib every day, you hit the jackpot. Yeah. That's really how I feel if you in that space. So it's just, care.com had the juice for me. And then you could try Sitter City. Sitter City is another app, but care.com by far got the juice.
That's good. Do you have some on that or?
Yeah, we found ours on care.com as well. And I think what was important was when she discussed how she grew up. So our nanny is 20-something. She has no kids and she is an only child. So because she has no kids and she's an only child, she wants to be around other kids. And we're like, oh, perfect, we got 3. So that was important to us. But also like her profile, she put a quote in there about like kids aren't being, I forgot exactly how it was, but they should be unfolded, not molded. And I was just like, ooh, there's some unfolding to do over here. And then when she met them, my daughter immediately attached to her, and my son Alexander was like, love her. And he was having so much fun. He was like running around playing with her, and then like he ended up upsetting his stomach, and she stayed and she helped clean him up and she took care of him. And like from day one, he actually said he doesn't want her to work with the other kids. He wants her to only be his nanny, and we need to get a new nanny for everybody else.
That's funny.
So it was it was a lot more of, yes, finding out about her upbringing, her background, and like her philosophy on raising kids and like things that she did with them and how she connected. And then looking at her past families, like who she worked with and getting references from them also helped as well.
That's good.
And just listen to your kids. Feel their energy and vibes, because kids are unfiltered. And so they will let you know if something is off. If kids can tell energy. Like you said, they gravitate. They immediately give hugs when they feel that good energy. So you may feel like you found the best person, and then they meet your children and the energy is off, and you have to pay attention to that. That's like, to me, the most important thing of all.
Thank you so much.
Good question. Next up.
Hello. So my question is, what advice would you give? Like I said earlier, I struggle with overcompensating as a single parent. So what advice would you give to me, pertaining to disciplining my child, versus while also trying to validate her feelings when it comes to the loss of her dad? So I'm sorry.
Oh no, you go ahead.
So for instance, go ahead. Sorry.
So my best friend, my two best friends been together since we were kids. You're gonna make me tear up because I see you're about to tear up, and I've seen her experience, so I know what you're going through. And they were together since we were in 8th grade, had a baby, and he got murdered. And I was there from the second. I flew from Atlanta to Cleveland at 7:00 in the morning as soon as I found out, and I stayed with her for a month. And I was pregnant at the time, my daughter. And I stayed with her for about 6 weeks. Left my boyfriend at the time, everything, left my whole life to go be with her during this process. Her daughter's 10 now. It's been 7 years. She still battles this all the time. She still battles the overcompensating, and because of the loss of her father, and because you don't know mentally what that's going to do or emotionally to your child. So you try to be the mom and the dad, but then also be the disciplinarian, but not discipline them too much because you don't want to be the bad guy. And the most I can say, and what I tell her when she calls me, and she cries about it all the time, we cry together, is give yourself some grace, because it's okay. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have good days. Your child is going to understand. You're learning this through the process. Like I was telling my best friend, and I was going through it with her, and it was a new experience for me, just to even witness her go through this and try to help her guide her through this while I was about to birth my first child and figuring this out. And you still have to be the mom. You still have to be the disciplinarian. So in times when you have to do it, you just will have to do that. But like we've been saying, explain, make it be a teachable moment. You don't have to be the dad and the mom. I know as single mothers, we feel like we're supposed to be the mom and dad. And I was talking to some people who are older one time, and it was like, a woman can never replace the man in the household. And the man can never replace the woman. Right. All you can be is the best mom you can possibly try to be. But I promise you, your child is going to understand and forgive you for any mistakes you've made along the way, because as we grow up, they know that you've done your best and you've done it by yourself, and you've gone through grief personally, as well as trying to help your child guide through grief. So just give yourself grace. Seriously, it's going to be okay. Thank you. It's going to be okay.
Next up.
Say my name. My name is Sean Bennett. On Instagram is CEO Sean. But my question is, actually, first, I just want to say y'all are all phenomenal parents and amazing entrepreneurs in y'all own right. So I actually want y'all to clap it up for them, because that's amazing. So my question is, I'm a young entrepreneur as well, and I'm starting to get to that age where I have to start thinking about, okay, I need to figure out who I need to be as a man to actually have kids. So my question is, what characteristics do you recommend that I learn in order for me to be able to actually have a kid, actually knowing that I'll be having a 7-figure, 8-figure business as well to run?
Leave it to the men.
Ooh,
Men to tell the men how to be
That's
men.
deep.
Man, first off, man, Sean, bro, you already know I'm your biggest fan, bro. I told my you know, my wife Tracy love you. You know what I'm saying? I pray Jackson grow up and be on your level. Cause I mean, he killing it, y'all. Already clearing 6 figures, super successful. You ain't 20 yet?
19. I just turned 19.
Oh, come on. You know, come on, y'all. Yeah. So, and I know you dance and you come from good stock. So I'll say this, man. You know what I'm saying? You just keep growing. You know what I'm saying? As a man, you know what I'm saying? Those people that you revere and you have respect for, don't just idolize and look up to them. Ask them, where did they go wrong? Figure out what tweaks you can make within your character. You know what I'm saying? How you can be the man God's called you to be. And then before you even get to parenting, be like, okay, God, what's her name? She's somewhere out here. You know what I'm saying? Is she a red bone? She got brown skin. You know what I'm saying? She got milk chocolate. Like, you know, she's short. You know what I'm saying? She a little taller than me. You know what I'm saying? When she put them heels on, like, what's her name? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, God, and then watch this. If you're not looking for the perfect person, you're just trying to be the best you can be, because ain't nobody perfect. And then when God puts that person, and then you have those conversations. So I'm not even on, you're going to be a dope father, bro.
Yeah.
You just be the best man you can be. So that when God blesses you with a wife, she gets the best version of you. And as y'all grow, then y'all can be the best version for your children.
That's I want to hear it from both of you as well.
Well, one characteristic you think about this one, be quick to forgive yourself. You're going to make mistakes. Like, you know, if you watch sports, the great quarterbacks throw an interception and come right back and throw a touchdown. And that's one of the things that I learned, that I'm learning, is I held stuff against myself, which burned me for a long time. And you got to just, when you do it, you got to say your prayers, give it to God, and keep on going. I think that'll be one of your best characteristics that you can work with.
Thank you. I definitely need that.
Yeah, I think it goes back to grace, giving yourself grace. And you're at such a young age, so you're there. So I would also say be careful. You know?
Careful.
Just be attentive
You got
to
the long hair and all that.
But just be focused on exactly what it is you want, and you already know who, you know, kind of who you want, right?
Yeah,
and
a little bit. It changed as I became entrepreneur. Now I'm looking at it's different now, because now I'm looking at celebrities as like, okay, they're not above me now. Now we're all human. So it's a matter of figuring out that
it really
character.
didn't change because it didn't change because if your philosophy, you're just changed, you're growing, but you know in your heart of hearts, like we know in our gut what's for us and what's not for us, especially depending on your faith, right, or how your beliefs, right. So you're just able to see other examples and say, okay, not going to do that, or wow, this is more like who I want to follow, all right, as you heard. So but give yourself grace and gratitude. Start each day with gratitude too, and make sure that whoever you're with aligns with those things. Folks used to tell me all the time, because I had success and it was just me you need someone who's making 7 figures too. You need somebody, right?
That's what I think now.
You're hearing all of that, but you're going to know what you need to balance you out, and someone that you can compliment as well.
That's good.
So
thank you.
Real quick, I want to. As a young man, I want you to really hold on to the word integrity, because it's not enough men, especially Black men, operating out of integrity. So integrity means I told this one woman that I would never do anything to hurt her. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities as you're an entrepreneur making money. There's going to be a lot of easy opportunities to go against that integrity. So that is one thing I try to hold close to my heart. I'm talking about down to, like, I practice this. So Reese, we was in the car and he was saying something like, what was the conversation we was having? And he was like, yo, we had to get like a COVID test to go to the radio station. And he says something like, what was he talking about, Reese?
Oh, they asked if you've been in contact with anybody that medic caught COVID.
Yeah, because if not, they charge you or something like that. And then Reese's like, yo, you could just put you in that. It's just a question on a box. And one of my things was, we was just in the car just vibing. I'm like, yo, I just don't like lying. I don't care how small it is, what it's gonna save me. Me personally, I'm working on every little bit of my integrity. I used to, look, ain't nothing wrong with buying food stamps to 2 for 1. You know what I mean? Like, my man give me a card, I give him some bread. But yo, it was something in my heart that it just don't feel integral. It don't feel right. Like getting over.
Yeah.
It just don't feel right. So I'm not saying I'm the most integral man in the world, but I'm saying I want you to be conscious. Be conscious to operate out of integrity. Because I want my daughter to say, yo, my dad ain't perfect, but he got integrity.
Hey, what's up? My name is Alyssa. Instagram is Level Up Lyssa. But also, I wanted to go ahead and ask you all. I'm also my mom's best friend, and sometimes I kind of get upset with her because I feel like she doesn't see her full potential, and I'm afraid when I have kids that it'll translate in my style of parenting. And although I don't plan on having kids anytime soon, as a young entrepreneur, how do you guys get past really not pushing your kids past certain boundaries, even though you see that they can do better and they can really reach their potential? So that's my question.
I think sometimes you have to let kids go at their own pace. I had to learn that. And sometimes, have you ever seen on Instagram, which on one end, I'm like, this is such a dope idea. But then the other end, I'm like, I don't think they really asked for that. Like if a parent gifts a kid like a business for their birthday, and I'm like, maybe they didn't want to be an entrepreneur. You know, and that's the first thing that always crosses my mind when I see it, and I'm like, this is dope because I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm a mom. Like, my daughter may have literally not wanted to do this at all, and now she's gonna be 18 and have to run a whole business, and this was not her idea. So I had to learn, like, you know, try to push your children to be who they can become, but also know when to step back. I had my daughter in every single after curriculum. Gymnastics, swim class, ballet, like piano, we were doing it all. And one day she just told me like, yo, I don't like going to gymnastics. And I was like, for real? And she was like, no. And I was like, the way you be tumbling, girl, you sure? So I still took her again. After the second time, Mom, I'm serious, I don't want to do this anymore. Then the third time, I'm like, well, you don't pay for these classes, we're going. The third time hits, and she was like miserable. The entire time we were driving there, she was just, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she really hates this. So then we got there and I was like, you don't even gotta go inside. You really don't wanna go. And she was like, no. I was like, you sure? And she was like, I just don't like it anymore. And I was like, say less. And we've never been back ever since. And now she's like almost like an Olympian swimmer now. If you follow me on Instagram, she swims crazy, but that I learned, find what she actually gravitates towards. So I put her in all this stuff, and what does she actually gravitate towards? Not what I feel like she's good at, like from my perspective, oh, you know how to flip, you should be in gymnastics. That's me, what I want to do for her. And that's not what made her happy. And that becomes a chore to children. They resent their parents for things like that. So, you know, just pay attention to what your children actually like and push that.
I got a follow-up question for you all. What's the line between obviously letting them find what they like, but even when they like it, they quit? And they like something, quit, like something, quit. Is that something that should be addressed where you say you made this commitment, you said this is what you want to do? Do we allow them to start, stop? Because I could see that maybe being a habit.
Though? It depends on the age group.
I allow mine, we have to finish out the season, finish out the commitment, and then we don't return. We can try something new.
Like that.
So that's what I do. In terms of answering your question, I believe that success looks different for every child, right? Success, it might be academic for some, it might be artistic for others. It's just identifying your child's strengths and encouraging them in that and allowing them to excel in that, you know? So that's just kind of how I take it. And going back to, I just totally lost my train of thought, y'all, but.
Yeah. We'll clap it up for that. Listen, when it comes back to you, just let us know, because I know it's good. All right, next up. and we'll take these last 4 and we'll wrap up.
All right, there it is. Okay, my name is Kennard Bright. First off, I heard great things from everybody up here. Y'all was they told me be intentional with my time and prioritize my family. Appreciate that. A question for anybody on the panel. No.
I was gonna say he definitely is giving,
And
or like a motivational
watch
speaker.
this. I'm a stand-up comedian.
See, it was the watch this. It was like
Okay. Now comedy my gift though, but ministry, that's the purpose. So I say the question for y'all, what is the end goal for your kids? Is it for them to, run the family business, generational wealth, or generational health? Not just focusing on building, not just focusing on building wealthy families, but healthy families. So, hey, y'all.
What's your goal
Setting
for your
an
kids?
end goal is, to me, setting an end goal is putting a roof, a ceiling on their potential. So I just try to I just plan to guide them throughout this whole journey. I don't know what their end goal should be. Happiness, honestly.
What would you like to
Whatever that
see?
may be. Huh?
What would you like to see?
Them happy.
Okay.
Honestly, because you can be a billionaire and be depressed, be miserable. You can go through a lot and have all the money in the world, or you can have all the family and the love, but if you may be poor, then you're struggling. That causes family issues. You may be working a job that you thought you loved 10 years ago and now you hate it, and you're so that's, I'm like, it's so subjective. Just find out what happiness means for them, and that's all I want to see them do, is just be happy in whatever that may be.
I kind of want my kids to be entrepreneurs.
See that?
We all wish that deep down inside.
So, but I think that's his question. Like, what would you like to see for your children?
Yeah, my daughter already has entrepreneur vibes, so I would like to see her owning. Whether she takes over our companies or not, what I'm saying, I would like to, see her have options. And she might say, yo, I want to be a teacher. Bet, boo-boo. You know what I'm saying? Like, she might say, I want to be a nurse. And so even with the starting and stopping, that was another question too. Sometimes when these kids are young, the human brain isn't even fully developed until you're like 22 anyway. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be making different changes and having different opinions and different vibes and styles. So I just want them to be happy, but to have options.
Right.
AKA a little bit of money.
Right. Gotta have some money.
I think I focus a lot on the end goal for me. Right. I tell my daughter all the time, like, I'm not working for me. I'm working for your great grandkids. So great, like, that's what I'm working for. So how I work, and my goal is focused on that. But for her, options, happiness, fulfillment. Figure out your purpose in life, right? And go after that. That's my main thing, because for me, other people telling me what I should do became an issue for me. So I don't want to do that. I want you to focus on figuring that out. My 7-year-old already figured it out. He said the reason we're all here and our purpose is to help each other and love each other. So he's done. He's fulfilled. But she still has to figure herself out. So more importantly, because there's a lot of people that have great jobs, lots of money, but they don't know their purpose. And that is what's going to make the difference. So that's what I want them to focus on.
That's good. All right. Next up.
Yo.
What's
up? My name Mac at Big Homie _ the credit finesser. So as a single father,
finesser.
Yeah, that's what I do. All right, so
Dad is like, I need to write that one down.
I'll go for it.
So as a single father starting out in entrepreneurship, I found it hard trying to make like events like tonight, knowing that my daughter has a project due tomorrow. What advice would you give me to kind of balance trying to scale my business and fatherhood?
I'll take that one. That word balance, I think, is probably the wrong word.
Bingo, right there.
It's never gonna be balanced.
Right.
It's single, married, it's just don't get that. It's really harmony, right? And you gotta, for me, learning how to plan better, because they didn't give, just say tonight, they didn't give her that project today.
No, we've been working on it all week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we just came off the weekend. We know we just had to really press hard on Sunday because you wanted to be here tonight. So some of those things is going to be sacrificing anything that we got to do so that you don't have that anxiety of, and if I go there tonight, then something not going to happen tomorrow, or we got to stay up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to get it done. Then she's tired tomorrow. So I think as a single father, it's really just setting your time and setting your, I'm going to say your priorities, getting them like totally being on them. And then everything else will work out fine. It's never going to be a time where you're like, man, I got to make Dave or not make Dave. This is important. So when Dave reached out to me, I knew normally on Thursday nights I teach a class. So everybody, I got to get another teacher to teach the class because this was a priority for me to support whatever he's doing and then be here because I wanted to hear what everybody else had to say so I can learn. I'm going to be like Dave. I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn from the audience. So I think as a single father, a married couple, it's just how we set our time, set our schedules, and what's a priority for.
That's good.
Yeah, definitely not balanced. It's definitely priorities. Yeah, you said it. And time. Let me tell you how I define time when Michaela was really young, or what I did so that I could kind of make sure, because time is so fleeting. You know, the project's due tomorrow. So one thing I did is I had a jar of marbles that I had in my office, right? And from 0 to 18, I don't know how old you're 12. So from 0 to 18, we have like 936 weekends with our kids. So I had 936 marbles in this jar. And every weekend I would take a marble out. So if I had an event and she wasn't with me, it was her mom's weekend, took a marble out. If she was with me, I took a marble out. 12, still had quite a few marbles left in there. When it gets to about 100 marbles, actually when it gets about 200 marbles, right, because we all look at it, right, then you really can identify how fleeting time is when it gets down to those 4 or 5 marbles. And so yeah, you'll see it as it dissipates like every single weekend. So that was something I did. And again, I'm talking over the course of 18 years, but I stayed focused in it every single day. What I did is I worked to prioritize so that I wasn't building for 936 marbles. I was building for Monday through the weekend, right? Monday, all 7 days of the week, so that I can put that time back. So if it's a priority, when you leave here, you take advantage of the information you have and it'll give you more time.
I was quite visual. Good question. Next up, we got 2 more.
Hi, so I'm Netta. My question is, I have a 4-year-old and he's mostly at home with me while I'm working. So I'm trying to figure out how I find a parent community if I'm at home and new to this area. How do you find support if you don't know anyone around?
I said build one.
Yeah.
Build the community.
Yeah.
For sure. Because I don't know if there is like a support group. It's just somebody always builds it. Like we got a group chat of just men and our daughters. And we're like, yo, let's get together this time or whatever. Somebody just decided, it might have been Jeremy, say, yo, let's all go out to eat. And I think we went to one restaurant, then they went to Disney on Ice. They didn't give me no ticket, but you know what I mean? I was like, hey, y'all get your boy a ticket.
Hasn't forgotten.
Catch dinner, you know what I mean? But I would say build it. Yeah.
I would say check on Facebook. Like if you don't know anybody locally, check. Like social media is great for that, you know? Not saying that you have to go and immediately trust anyone, but there are a lot of groups that are like moms of this city, moms in Decatur, moms of Sandy Springs. And a lot of times they will have meetups on certain weekends or certain, days throughout the month, and just go. Like go without expectation, keep an open mind and get to know people. And then from there, going back to what Dave said, then build and connect your own network.
That's good.
And it can even simply be going to the park and meeting other mothers who are there with their kids and exchanging. If your kids are playing together at the playground, exchange contact to continue to meet up at the playground until you guys get comfortable. Maybe until your child maybe goes to daycare or school, because then you'll get the community.
Right.
But
okay. Thank you so much.
Good question. Last one.
Hello, everyone. My name's Aite. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here in your presence, and all the knowledge that you guys dropped tonight was really special. My question is, for those of you with blended families, what are some of the challenges that you faced and how did you overcome them?
The giggle for me.
You ain't figured it out yet?
I'll go first. So my parents were divorced, and so I experienced blended family myself, right? And so I took from that what I liked, and I made note of what I didn't like. So when we came together, he has a daughter, I had my two, and then we have our son. I immediately embraced his daughter as my own. Like, legitimately, she runs, she hangs out, she sleeps up, she spends time with me, right? That's my baby, right? And with that philosophy, it makes it like she's not even a child that I carried for 9 months, right? I carried her in my heart, right? And so that is how our relationship is shaped. And then for my kids, he embraced them as his own, right? So if my son's like, I'm having trouble sleeping, he's like, okay, I'll help you get back. Like, he's there. You know, if they have something happening at school, he's buying them the project stuff. Like, he's involved with all of them. And so that has made it easy for us because I experienced it. But I think on his end, he didn't have that. He was homeschooled till he was in high school. His parents are still married, going on almost 40 years. And so he had a different perspective, but he understood the importance of embracing my kids. And so that whole process has been easy for us because for me as a child in a blended family home, with step parents, it just didn't work out that well, right? And so understanding that, I wanted to make sure I didn't create that for my kids in choosing a partner, and I didn't want to do that to his child. So that was what shaped it for me.
You mind if I ask one question, as I'm sure you would have an answer as well? What's one thing specifically that you're dealing with that you can't quite figure out?
Well,
if you want to share.
Yeah, I'll share. So I guess I would like to see more interaction between my wife and my older kids. I mean, I know she cares for them and I know she loves them, but I don't know if, she feels not even indifferent. I just don't know. Like, I just want to see more interaction. I want to see kind of like the way she treats our babies, pretty much the same way with my other two.
Yeah, I can answer that one. I can speak to that because that was our challenge. My husband had two older children. I had one, I think my daughter was 2. Then we had one together. And so as a bonus mom, and there was some other dynamics, like I was my bonus daughter's former teacher. So there was some different story. Wait a minute now. But I was her former teacher.
We just gonna skip over that part.
You definitely. So not only was it my dad is getting married, because my husband was a single father. So not only was it my dad is getting married, it's my dad is marrying my teacher, like the woman that was in my classroom last year, So it was a lot of different dynamics there.
Parent teacher conference.
It was the last day of school, last week. That's the story though. That's the story. But she was a daddy's girl, He took care of her. And they had a very close relationship, and then here I come, right?
Grading papers.
And we both wanted the relationship, but didn't really know how to transition from where we were into this new space. And so I had heard the same request from my husband, like, I want to see you do this more. I want to see you do that more. And it kind of felt forced, right? It felt forced. And I'm like, listen, at the time, I'm like, she's 15, she's 16. I'm here. Like, I don't want to force myself, and that's not what she wants. So you got to understand, your wife may be sensing things that maybe you're not sensing. You understand? And I do think that there's time, space, and you have to give it time to grow and mature naturally. You know, it will come. It might not come, but it's not just from her, because the children are older too. So they have a say so in what type of relationship they want with the bonus mom, or if they want one at all. And the key factor is that you're the glue. You're the glue. You're the one that's going to bring, if your wife is with you, your kids were there before she came in, you are the glue, right? So you're the one that's going to smooth things out, keep that thing together, and help everyone in the transition. You can't force it though, because I've had friends, and my bonus daughter and I and my bonus son, we have a great relationship now, right? But it wasn't always that way. But I do have friends that have said, listen, my dad got married. I was not feeling my stepmom. I tried to break them up. You gotta understand that I'm not saying that those are your children, but you may not know what type of thoughts and emotions they have going on inside that they have not shared with you, that you might not be able to see, because those are your kids and you love them and you want the best for them. So I would just say, do what you can to bring the family together, whether it's having dinner together, you know, whether it's simple activities, having dinner together, having family game night, you guys going places together and doing things to continue to nurture that bond, but also allow it time to progress naturally.
That's good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good conversation, right? Needed. I know I learned so much tonight, and it's reflective about, you know, kind of, I think we need time to slow down and really focus on certain areas of our life, right? We could have a whole conversation about, there's another element, right? So we talked about kind of business and your relationship with your child, but what about the relationship between, how do you split the time between your child and your child's parent? That's a whole nother dynamic. Am I right? So how do you split that time? There's so many questions, but I think it just starts with us having these conversations. So we're gonna wrap up, but I want anybody, if there's something on your heart that we didn't touch on that you think is important for people to know, I'd like to hear from each and every one of y'all. So anybody that has something top of mind, then we'll give everybody else a chance to think. Anything that we missed? Any kind of conversation that we didn't have?
There was a theme of grace that I think we all should probably bestow upon yourself, right? Give yourself some grace. It's hard. You know, hats off to you for even the desire to be an entrepreneur or to be an entrepreneur. Like, let's be honest, it's already hard being a parent, period. Yet alone trying to build a business, yet alone trying to be an entrepreneur, build a business, and be a parent with a blended parent or being a single parent, like, that's not easy, you know what I'm saying? And so we just salute you all for taking the time away from your family to come out and get this game, but just give yourself grace. But at the same time, you might just have to be ultra disciplined. You might not have the luxury of doing what you did when you were single without kids and when you work for somebody else. Like Shan's, no, I'm super disciplined. I thought this sucker was from 6 to 8. I'm like, bro, I'm rushing to get back to the crib. Because I'm up at 4 o'clock. I got a formula that works for me in my life. So now I'm even thinking like, shoot, I worked on legs today. My knees killing me. Your boy hit 41. My knees are a little different. I need Epsom salt. I'm processing my whole evening. What time I'm gonna go to sleep? What kind of REM sleep I'm gonna get before midnight?
I'm sorry, bro. My bad.
I'm not tripping.
That's how I'm getting off. I got the newborn now. I gotta this one. I gotta do this.
But I share that with y'all because you got, like, if you really want this thing, look, the most successful people in the world aren't the most gifted. Right. They're not the smartest. They're not the most talented. They are those who are the most disciplined. So if you really want to dominate in the world, you got to dominate your life. You got to dominate your schedule. You got to be super duper disciplined to be able to give your kids that time, know when to put that iPhone down, tap in with them, know when to put them down, get them situated, get right back to the work so that your dreams can come true, so that their dreams can come true. So give yourself some grace, but also for some of y'all, you might just have to be a little bit more disciplined because maybe you still want to watch the Lakers. I'm a huge LeBron fan. I'm a fan of greatness. I ain't seen not one game. They play too late. Why am I gonna watch him and all his greatness? That's gonna stop me from fulfilling my greatness.
Come on, you talking good.
You see what I'm saying? And so you gotta be super disciplined. You might not be able to go and kick it with the girls or with the homies. I'm not saying don't take care of yourself, but you just gotta be disciplined. So cut yourself some slack, But at the same time, you might have to hold yourself a little bit more accountable and be super disciplined so that you can really win. You really can't have an amazing career in businesses in multiple streams while you still have multiple kids and give your spouse the necessary time and attention that they need while still taking care of yourself. We all get 24 hours in a day. If I sleep 6-7 hours at night, I got, 14, 15 more hours the next day. If I give my family 5 hours, I still got 10 more hours of work. That's plenty of time. We got to just be locked in. That's all I would say.
I love it. We'll end it off with everyone just kind of take us out, man.
That was my piece. I'm out.
I would say know your capacity and be okay with that. Like, you don't have to, the worst thing that you can do is compare yourself to someone else because you don't know their life and you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. This is what we were talking about, the dinner table, capacity. And what I mean by that is saying, okay, in order for me to get here, what is it going to take? And am I equipped to deal with that? And am I willing to pay the cost, the energy cost, the sacrifice cost, the learning cost, sometimes the financial cost of what accomplishing this goal is going to take? Like, it is okay to build your business in stages. And it is okay to become masters of the stage in which you're at, because scaling and growing too fast can totally break you too. And people don't talk about that. So that's why you absolutely have to know the capacity that you have for the current life that you have. Like, my children are small. The way that I operate now is not going to be the way that I will be able to operate, 5 years or 10 years from now, because life will change. But for right now, work and life, it all requires me to shut everything down at 3 so I can focus on my children. I might be losing money. I know I am. But what am I gaining? I'm gaining family. I'm gaining life. I'm gaining memories. And that is, I'm not looking at the young girl on Instagram that's she's just doing her and herself is all she has to worry about. My life is different. And that's fine. And that's okay. And it is okay to say no. It's okay to say no. And it's okay to take it slow. And that's all I got to say.
I love it. Ramon Tookes, close us out, brother.
So I want to talk about environment. And I know we came here about parenting and entrepreneurship. I was raised to be an entrepreneur. My father did not allow us to have jobs. It was really a punishment for it, which means you're gonna have to shell out money to pay bills. And so my life and my kids, I have encouraged them to be entrepreneurs and create an environment. If they wanted to take all the money and put it into a nail business, I support them. If they wanted to, I got 2 girls in college right now. One is doing some entrepreneur stuff while she's in college, and I fully support it. So creating that environment, the environment that we create for our children is how they're gonna grow up. For me, I grew up in entrepreneurs in both sides of the track, all kinds of entrepreneurs, but it taught me that I early on did not want to work for somebody. I have a law degree, and I remember wanting to be Johnny Cochran. That was me and my school, the people at school saying, go to school, go to college. My dad was encouraging me to go to law school, but he was also saying, go to law school so you can help the family. Go to law school so you can understand what you're doing, because at 19, I started at real estate. So my word is to make sure we create that environment so that they can be all that they can be. And if it's an entrepreneur, cool. If it's a school teacher, cool. If it's a veterinarian, cool. But whatever it is, we just got to give them that support. And once they know they got that support, they'll jump off the bridge. And if we're going to catch them, we catch them. And if they know that, the sky's the limit for them.
I love it. Good stuff. Andrea.
I think for me, it's more so just really instilling, again, time management skills. That's probably the biggest thing for me personally. I know for a lot of parents is really understanding time management, and part of time management is prioritization and understanding what's important, and understanding that sometimes you don't have the ability to plan your 5-year, your 10-year right now. You don't know, my career field, every day is different. My Monday looks nothing like Tuesday, looks nothing like Wednesday. But one thing that I've done for myself that's worked is I wake up or I go to sleep, right before I go to sleep, I make a huge task list in my notes because I'm a phone person. And it's everything I need to do for the next day for work and everything I need to do the next day for my kids and my personal life. And I do not go to sleep until everything is checked off. And I literally list it in order of what is most important. So then that way you work from the top down, but it helps you see visually what actually needs to be done, because sometimes it's like, I could say, oh, I need to turn in this project, but it's not due till next week. So why is it on my Monday to do? That's me overextending myself. That's me taking away from time with my children because I want to just do something now. So it's really just about, like I said, prioritizing, really understanding time management. It's okay to plan. It's okay to try to come up with the best schedule that you can. But again, go back to give yourself grace if you get a little sidetracked. It's all right.
That's good. That's good. Huge.
I would say definitely understanding that you're different than, each of us, right? So everybody's situation is going to be totally different, and living that truth, like accept that, not accept it, I shouldn't say, but honor it, like feel good about that, because there's someone who's looking at your story, someone who's looking to learn from you as a parent, you as a father, you as a single mother, you as a blended family, and you're going to be able to lead someone else. I stopped focusing as much about leaving a legacy just for my daughters as much as I wanted to leave a legacy in them. And so that was my daily walk. That meant it had to be about, what type of activities I was doing, making sure I had the plan in place, making sure I had integrity, which is something you said to a young man. And every single time someone asks me about David Shands, the first thing I say is he's a man of integrity. And so somebody has to be able to say that about you. I wanted to make sure I instill that in my daughters. Right, that they have integrity. So where you are. Don't look at social media and force it to drag you to get to a place that maybe you're not ready to get to just yet, because you may lose your family as a result of getting that. And then what did you do it for? So just know what priority is. I almost said balance, because that's what we're so used to hearing. But know how to prioritize your life for your family. Like there's a wheel of life. It's not just business, it's faith, it's family. I mean, it's our, the emotional part of the wheel, the spiritual part of the wheel, the physical part of the wheel. Like we talk about all that. So make sure you take a look at the totality of it so you know how to create the priorities around it. And congratulations.
Yeah. Good. Well, Kendra, it's on you to close us out, sis.
I approach parenting with prayer, patience, and positivity.
Prayer, patience, and positivity. I like that.
Yep. I have to pray for guidance every single day, right? And I have to have patience with them. And I try my best to, let them get positivity, But I also look at myself as a part of a team, right? I am a part of their team. Everyone's on a team. I have a team at work and I have a team at home. I don't want them to feel like everything is always going to be done by me, but it's going to get done. Right. And that's the most important thing for me, is that I have a support team. And it's not easy to build a team. Business is hard to build a team, but also a team for your kids. Right. I don't want them to feel like my whole world will get shattered if something happens to mommy. No, we have support there. And I've also learned to not be guilty about leaving to do certain things. I want to be present. I'm present with them. The phone's down, whatever the case may be, I'm present. So I no longer feel guilty, because wherever I am is where I'm supposed to be at that point in time. And when I'm with them, they get my 100% of my attention. And that's how I approach it.
I love it. Clap that up. Look, man, I want to say thank you to everybody on the panel. Again, I learned a lot. I want to say thank you on behalf of everybody that's here in our live audience. You guys enjoyed it? Yes? Yes. Clap it up, clap it up. So really take this conversation seriously. Share this with somebody, because there are people that really, this is a challenge. Like you kind of alluded to postpartum. There's a real thing. You have a child and your body changes, and I went through it. I didn't go through it, but I was through it.
You helped.
I mean, I feel like I went through it. But you have the child and things change, and you got to manage certain emotions. And then I need to learn how to manage my emotions and understand the emotions. And it's not an easy thing to deal with. So please share this with somebody. We want to say thank you to Terry Ijeoma for sponsoring, empowering, and supporting this platform with Trade and Travel. Make sure y'all support Trade and Travel. Send her a DM. Go on and send her a DM right now. Her Instagram is Terry Igioma, TERIIGOEMA, I believe. I might have spelled it right or wrong, maybe, I don't know. But send her a DM, say I'm here live in Atlanta, and I appreciate you for supporting this podcast and the Social Proof 7, okay? So make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe, and we are out of here. Y'all have a good night.